Chapter 5831. Wandao Sword Sovereign. It's just a step away. The treasure is no longer needed. What is needed is some special opportunities. For example, which Batland mentioned by the Whale Shark King? Perhaps, where is his chance? It just so happened to be able to confirm whether the mysterious strong man hiding in it was Wu Li. It can be regarded as killing two birds with one stone. 15 days, just a blink of an eye. When the gathering day came, the Mobat King personally led the team, covered up with the task of inspection, and left Weilong Mountain. This time Jian Wushuang took everyone by his side so that he could run away. If you really want to find Wu Li, there is no need for him to stay in Weilong Mountain. When the time comes, you will have to follow Wu Li and plan Wanlu. If the path of the female emperor is unworkable, then take another path. He didn't believe Wu Li had no other preparations. For this holy meeting, I am afraid Wu Li also planned for a long time. It's just that the chips in hand are not enough. The vitality needed to unlock Wanlu. Wu Li shouldn't be much. Everything depends on him. After leaving Weilong Mountain, Jian Wushuang had a lot of backlogs in his heart. He was distracted for a while, but he didn't notice that he had been spotted behind him. That gaze is long and narrow and very old. From the main peak of Weilong Mountain, King of the River, Dimyu, King Damyu watched each of them. There are hundreds of people. Whale Shark, it seems that you are still unwilling. King Damyu sneered in his heart. Even if you become the Five Tribulations realm, you will still be crushed by me. I want to see what you hide. The Mephits and Whale Sharks leading the crowd didn't know yet. The plan had been revealed. As long as the Blessed Land is a protector, it will be privately hidden. Except Jian Wushuang. Because it was relatively late. This is an open secret, and King Damyu usually closes one eye. But he can see clearly the things that threaten him. Sangmo, haven't you been looking for the human monk who stole your dragon egg? King Damyu digs out a transmission stone, and then said, I found it for you, he is right there. Together with the location of the Whale Shark King's private blessed land, King Damyu said it. Sangmo, who was far upstream, was still going crazy to find Jian Wushuang and the others. After receiving the voice of King Damyu, he set off directly to the mountains in the chasm at the bottom of the river. Except Sangmo. At this time, there is also an ancient boat heading towards the middle of the mountains at the bottom of the river. Is a monk of the human race. And also the Shurgua team that Jian Wushuang is more familiar with. This time it was really lively. All parties converge. It will be surging. Jian Wushuang and the others were the first to reach the Blessed Land. Outside of the Blessed Land, Jian Wushuang didn't feel anything special. If he could tell it, then this place wouldn't be a rare blessing. The Whale Shark King took out a token, opened the Blessed Land, and everyone jumped in. This is the periphery of the Blessed Land. That guy is inside. The Whale Shark King led the crowd and continued walking forward. After entering the Blessed Land, Jian Wushuang felt a special breath. That breath? Jian Wushuang frowned. But I yelled out from the bottom of my heart. Life force. He couldn't believe it. There will be life force in this place. This will let those human race cultivators find out. I am afraid they will all flock to this place. No. Jian Wushuang felt a little strange. Powerful people watching the game from the outside world can see them. In other words, the Guma school has completely controlled the entire infinite world. If you really want to have vitality, I'm afraid it would have been raided long ago. How can you get them in turn? But here is the power of life. He has the power of life, how can he not know? Then there is only one possibility left. This blessed land has been isolated. Isolated from the infinite world. Therefore, the strong of the ancient wood school cannot find it. If you speculate like this, you can explain it. Jian Wushuang would not think that Gu Mu sect would be so generous and put the power of life here. You know, the Guma school is the one who lacks the most vitality right now. The real king, Shenmu King, it's almost dead. It's just that the vitality that the other party needs, he can't get it out. After becoming the Lord of the Universe, perhaps he can restore the vitality of the 8 Tribulations realm. But now, even if he was drained, he wouldn't be able to help the 8 Tribulations realm powerhouse. There is an essential difference between the 7 tribulations realm and the 8 tribulations realm. There are many experts in the 7 tribulations realm in ancient Wood continent, but the strong of the 8 tribulations realm can be counted with one hand. At the beginning, Qishan was under the 8th calamity. The strong one who can survive the 8th calamity is not a unique special strong one. When he was in Daojun, he could restore the origin and vitality of the 6 tribulations realm powerhouse. The 7 tribulations realm can be restored in the Emperor. But to restore the 8 tribulations realm, the low-level masters of the universe won't work. He had that strength and foundation only when he reached the 5 tribulations realm. A strong person in the 8 tribulations realm can reverse the rules and put his own universe into his body. This is going against the rules. The 8 tribulations realm was already the peak of Guyu's time and space. It's not as simple as they thought. The depths of the blessed land. The closer you get to the core, the more Jian Wushuang feels that the power of ancient life is very powerful. There are actually some differences between life and life. For example, the life force he condensed is acquired, but the power of life here is innate. In other words, it is the life force of a certain unknown powerhouse. Leaked out. This reminded him of Wanlu. This kind of vitality is contained in Wanlius branches. Is there a willow hidden in it? Then he shook his head. If this is the case, it would be too fake. A high probability is the branches left by Wanlu. If it is really Wanlu, it must be even more powerful than this. Compared with the Wanlu that couldn't break through the 8 tribulations realm. It is also a super ruin comparable to the ancient moon ruins. Some strong people have speculated that if Wanlu could open it, Gumu continent will become the top 3 9 heavens and 10 places in Guyu time and space in one fell swoop. Only lose black and white for 2 days. It is conceivable how important this treasure of opportunity among the willows is to the entire ancient Wood continent. After bypassing his thoughts, the whale shark king in front of him also stood up. Everyone, this is it, and further forward is the enchantment. The whale shark king explained. After Jian Wushuang approached, he touched the barrier, and his whole body was shaken apart. After a few steps back, he stabilized his figure. This enchantment is really extraordinary. His current divine power is maintained at around 550,000. This can all be shaken away. Wouldn't it be 1,000,000 supernatural powers to enter? He felt that even if they went together, it would be difficult to break open. The whale shark king should know best. He wouldn't be stupid just telling them to bring it. How could he be unsure of it? There must be a way. The Mobat king said at this moment, "Whale shark, don't sell it, tell me your plan." Then let me just say it straight. I have a magic weapon that can increase my divine power a lot, but it needs 800,000 divine power. I can't do this, but we can do it together. After 100,000, this treasure can be mobilized, and the divine power of 900,000 or even 1,000,000 will erupt. If you like Wandao Sword Sovereign, please collect it. Wandao Sword Sovereign has the fastest update speed. Chapter 5832. Wandao Sword Sovereign. After the whale shark king finished speaking, he was stunned when he got out of the Mobat king. 800,000 supernatural power goes in, and 900,000 comes out. This is also amazing. Jian Wushuang had never heard of it. The knowledgeable Li Sheng is also unheard of. There is such a magical treasure? Benboba asked in surprise. Whale Shark King smiled and said, "I got it by chance because of good luck, but this treasure can only be used once, and it will be damaged when it is used up. I once got a weakened version, and the internal origin disappeared after using it once. No wonder, if it can be used continuously, the value of this treasure." Jian Wushuang shook his head, marveling at the existence of this treasure. It's not surprising. If this kind of treasure can be used continuously, it goes without saying that everyone can understand it. It will be a top treasure comparable to the treasure of the innate universe. Similar to the beast on Jian Wushuang. The beasts and monsters on him, no matter at that stage, are the strongest treasures that increase his strength. At that time, in Morwa time and space, the 9 beast gods, all Qishan beheaded, refined 9 beast soldiers. His candle dragon is just one of them. Kishan's luck at the time was also good. It also grows fast enough. He surpassed everyone in one fell swoop, beheaded the 9 beast gods, and refined the beast gods. Speaking of Morwa time and space, there are more treasures there than Guyu time and space. Especially in terms of quality. The treasure of the innate universe. Too many can be used by the emperor. There is also the treasure of time and space. He felt that Qi Temple was more than a treasure of time and space. Qishan Temple itself is probably the treasure of time and space. What Qishan refined at the beginning was only the internal origin, which was considered to be an improvement on the original time and space treasure. There is also the universe and sea inside Qishan Temple, and the true spirit also holds the treasure of time and space. This time, Fan Tianfeng with the flame and a few experts from the 7 Tribulations realm went to Qishan Temple for the treasure of time and space. This time and space does not. The treasure of time and space, once it appears, 8 tribulations will come out to snatch. Let's talk about the Whale Shark King's side. The treasure has been taken out. The crowd stood in a circle. The men they brought were all outside the formation set by the Whale Shark King. The 2 younger generations of the Li family and Jin Qin are also outside. Only Li Sheng followed. Li Sheng's strength is not weak to protect the law. It just hasn't risen. But the status is similar to that of the law protector. So just came in. 1 more person, 10% more certainty. There are a total of 6 people, and the weakest in divine power is more than 500,000. Once they all explode and converge into one force, then the divine power they condensed is instilled in this treasure. As long as they make up 800,000, they can burst out 900,000 divine power. The divine power of 900,000, that would have to be made by King Gamyu himself. Calculate according to the previous threshold. 300,000 is the threshold of the 3 Tribulations realm, and 400,000 is the threshold of the 4 Tribulations realm. 600,000 is the threshold of the 5 Tribulations realm. There is a big gap between the 4 Tribulations and the 5 Tribulations. The gap between the 5 Tribulations and the 6 Tribulations is even greater. The Lord of the Universe in the 6 Tribulations realm is not weaker than the scattered tribulations in the 7 Tribulations realm. In other words, it can burst out 1,000,000 supernatural powers. At that level, it is much more difficult to reach a higher level than it is now. Even if King Tianmu didn't have the original universe, he would have 900,000 divine powers. In other words, the divine power gathered by his few people can burst out an attack at the 6 Tribulations realm level. Everyone, let's start. The Whale Shark King took the lead in raising his breath. Normally, there are 600,000 Whale Shark Kings, and a wave of momentum directly erupts to 680,000 supernatural powers. The body turned into a whale shark. The Mephit shook its wings and turned into a body, with a divine power of 700,000. Jian Wushuang and others were not hiding either. One after another broke out their peak combat power. Of course, Jian Wushuang only broke out 600,000. Did not reach the limit. He always felt that the Whale Shark King and the Mobat King were not good people. Have to keep one hand. The 6 people leaped high and hovered in the air. They gathered their hands towards the treasure below, and began to infuse a lot of divine power. The 12 pillars of light converge into that treasure. Arcana's power gradually increased from the beginning. The Jibao originally had 700,000 divine powers. Now they only need to add 100,000 more. But this 100,000 divine power, at least 3 strong people with 700,000 divine power inject. Of the 6 of them, only 2 managed to reach 700,000. Afterwards, the Whale Shark King once again increased his supernatural power, reaching more than 680,000 appearances. Jian Wushuang could see that the opponent hadn't exerted all his strength yet. The peak should be around 700,000. The remaining 4 people could barely gather a strong man with 700,000 supernatural powers. The infinite divine power gathered for a quarter of an hour. But the divine power in that treasure has only increased to about 780,000. There is still a difference of 20,000. Everyone, it's a little bit closer, just work harder. The Whale Shark King took out a few supernatural fruits and tossed them to everyone. They released their divine power in this way, and the divine body had already begun to weaken. They are all waiting for the whale shark king to bring out the treasures for them to recover. Seeing the fruits of divine power, everyone was not polite, grabbing them and swallowing them in one bite. Jian Wushuang was shocked by the horror of this fruit, and about 500,000 divine power burst out from the swallowing mouth, restored him to his peak state. The beam of light from his hands became bigger again. The divine power in that treasure has soared by 10,000 in an instant. But the more you get to the back, the harder it is. 780,000 to 790,000 divine power, after reaching 790,000, only increases by about 1,000 each time. After 9 consecutive times, they were stuck with 79,000 divine powers. The whale shark king also took out the fruit of supernatural power again. Everyone broke out again. This time, it can only increase by 100 at a time. Jian Wushuang frowned. He felt a bit exaggerated. Even in the later stage, the condensing of supernatural power will be very slow. It can't be so slow, right? This treasure is very special, but it is not so special, right? There are more treasures he has seen. Even if it is the treasure of time and space, there are 2 pieces. But right now, this treasure is not only special in urging, it is so cumbersome and difficult even in the energy stage. It is really suspicious. There must be something they don't know why. The whale shark king probably didn't tell them the truth. There is absolutely concealment. When the 6 people's divine power was once again consumed more than half, and when they could only maintain their own deity, the treasure was finally completed. The supernatural power of 800,000. Successful! The whale shark king smiled and turned his head and glanced at the Mobat king. Now their supernatural powers are very weak. If someone suddenly starts doing something at this time, I'm afraid. Jian Wushuang had just suspected. A horror aura rose behind him. It's the whale shark king. In just an instant, the whale shark king restored his supernatural power to 600,000. He took the lead to come to Jian Wushuang's back and wanted to solve Jian Wushuang. But Jian Wushuang also has a backhand. How can you be stupid and unprepared? The divine power on his body was directly restored to the peak of 600,000. Without waiting for the opponent to make a move, he suddenly turned around, put his hands together, and made a mark, directly shaking the whale shark king into flight. If you like Wandao Sword Sovereign, please collect it. Wandao Sword Sovereign has the fastest update speed. Chapter 58-33. Wandao Sword Sovereign. However, the catfish east had no backhands, and was directly wrapped in the wings of the Mobat king and completely swallowed. The big-headed fish, Ba Bo Ben, was already frightened. He never expected that his backer would suddenly attack them. Already stunned in place. Li Sheng also woke up at this moment. After all, with the original universe, it recovers much faster than a pure beast. Li Sheng, who had overdrawn from the source of recovery, retreated directly to avoid the attack of the Mephit king. Go and solve Tyrannical Run. The whale shark king, who was repelled, reminded. They were also shocked. They didn't expect Jian Wushuang and Li Sheng to hide. It's not easy to solve it later. Originally, his plan was to fill up the magical power of the treasure and kill others. As for the barrier of the blessed land, they would not waste this treasure to open it. Instead, I want to ask King Tianmu to crack it. Then use this treasure to sneak attack on King Tianmu. The plan is very accurate. And this treasure, if it is really urged, it will not burst out of 900,000 divine power, but a full 1,000,000 divine power. Enough to kill King Tianmu. This is the real plan of the 2. Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang and Li Sheng both concealed. You can only solve other people first, and then talk to Jian Wushuang and the others. The supernatural power of Tyrannical Run has reached a weak point. Facing the Mobat king, there is no ability to fight back at all. Can only stand stupidly in place. The Mephit stretched out a finger and burst out a black light. This black light contained 600,000 divine powers, enough to kill Tyrant Rushing. Jian Wushuang's candle dragon wings suddenly shook, and instantly appeared next to Ba Bo Ben. He lifted his foot and kicked Ba Bo Ben away, avoiding the black light. Why are you still stunned? Run quickly. Seeing that Bobbin hadn't reacted, he quickly reminded the other party. These days, Bobbin takes good care of him and can help as long as he can. Thank you for the great grace, you are waiting for me to find the king. Ben turned into his body, shook his body, and burst out at a very fast speed, trying to escape from the blessed land. But before reaching the exit, I heard a dragon roar. Then a huge black dragon rushed in. After a flick, he said that he was back from scratch. Where is the human monk? Jiaolong is the Sangmo king of Weilong Mountain. He directly displayed his ontology and hurried his way, reaching here as quickly as possible. A pair of blood-red eyes, staring at everyone. Ben climbed up from the ground with difficulty, unable to maintain his body, and changed back to his human form. He saw Lord Sangmo crying for help. The Lord Sangmo, you came just right, the Mobat King and the Whale Shark King have joined forces to rebel. Kill them soon. Huh. Sangmo was taken aback. Then he couldn't help laughing. He had just killed a group of wild beasts of Weilong Mountain outside, and he was no different from mutiny now. At the beginning, King Gamyu robbed him of his turf, and he didn't have a good face to the people of Weilong Mountain. Just hang up the position. Finding that Weilongshan is fighting inside, he is too late to laugh. How could he be able to help? Brother Sangmo, you just came here. Why don't we join forces to kill these trash fish, and then go to the Weilong Mountain? Our three brothers are king. Why bother to look at the face of that toad? Whale Shark King knew today. The matter must have been exposed, so we can only stabilize the situation first. But his tactics, Huyuba rushing to them is okay. Sangmo is also an old monster who has lived for so many years. How can he believe this kind of nonsense? Whale Shark, I knew you were rebellious a long time ago. I thought you would wait until the 5 Tribulations realm before rebelling. I didn't expect the 4 Tribulations realm to dare to attack the old toad. I really admire it. Sangmo is not interested in Weilong Mountain, nor is he interested in Whale Shark King's plan. He only wanted to find the human race who stole the dragon eggs and kill them all to relieve his hatred. It was the dragon egg that he had conceived for an unknown number of years, and it was stolen. Even the old nest on the shore was flattened. If this grudge is not reported, he will stop living. I don't care about your plan, I just want to know if there are human monks hidden in this barrier. After speaking, he raised his hand to attack the barrier. After laying the dragon eggs, his divine power had a short-term weakness, but now it has returned to its peak. Has a full 720,000 divine power. A fist hit the barrier, but the barrier remained unchanged. Don't waste your effort, you can't break it. The Whale Shark King shook his head. He also wanted to break the barrier. Just have to rely on the supernatural power of King Gamyu. The mysterious powerhouse hidden inside is not that powerful. This enchantment is too special. But Sangmo didn't have that many tubes, and he also felt a breath of life from it, and there was something hidden in it anyway. What do I do now? The Mephit King could not pay attention. Jian Wushuang is the same here. Ben and Li Xing were both waiting for Jian Wushuang to speak. According to Jian Wushuang's character, in fact, this situation should have left. It's just the life force inside, he didn't seem to let it go. And the person who is hiding is most likely Wu Li. Wu Li still carried the wooden sword made from Wanlu. If you just leave, if the barrier is broken, Wu Li will not be over. Jian Wushuang suddenly thought of something. Jin Chen is still outside. Sangmo said that he killed everyone outside. It's over. Li Xing also reacted. He quickly took out the token, and there were several voice transmissions above it. Danger, danger, danger. Jian Wushuang didn't care about others and turned around to leave. Where to go? The Whale Shark King wanted to stop at this time. He was also afraid that Jian Wushuang would return to Weilong Mountain to tell King Tmu what happened here. They are all 600,000 supernatural powers, and the Whale Shark King can stop them. Jian Wushuang's wings shook behind his back and avoided the attack. Toward the entrance and fly away. Backhand took out the token, but the top did not ask for help. A chill in his heart. Jin Chen is just an emperor, even if his strength is good, he can at best be comparable to a strong man in the 2nd Tribulation realm. Sangmo was in the 5 Tribulations realm, and Jin Chen could be wiped out by blowing the air. This place is isolated from cause and effect, and even the people of the ancient wood school can't peer into this place. He also couldn't feel the breath of Jin Qin in cause and effect. You can only go out first and use cause and effect to explore Jin Qin's breath. When he just arrived at the entrance, his figure was startled. An ancient breath spreads out. I saw the bow of an ancient boat appearing at the entrance, and then a terrifying aura erupted, which directly shattered the entrance. The entire battleship has entered this blessed land. Human monk. Lord Sangmo felt the incoming breath. His complexion changed drastically. The whale shark king and the Lord Mabot's complexion sank. In this huge breath, there are 2 5 Tribulations Realm Universe Masters. There are even more than 100 Masters of the Universe in the 4 Tribulations Realm. If you like Wandao Sword Sovereign, please collect it. Wandao Sword Sovereign has the fastest update speed. Chapter 5834. And each of them is extremely powerful, far from being comparable to ordinary desolate beasts, and the weakest can be comparable to the guardian of Weilong Mountain. The starting point is the supernatural power of 500,000. The key is still the 2 Masters of the Universe in the 5 Tribulations Realm. All are the pinnacle 5 Tribulations Realm. It is not comparable to the Mephit. Sang Yamo, who was still somewhat mad, saw so many human monks, his eyes began to shrink. It's no longer a matter of revenge, it's a matter of whether you can get out alive. Pa Scout also leaked despair. If it is an internal fight between the wild beasts, there is no possibility of surviving. But when encountering a human monk, there is only a deadly battle. Li Sheng was also taken aback. Then it suddenly occurred to him that he was also a human race. But now that this ghost looks like a ghost, there is no face to face it. When Jian Wushuang raised his head after being retreated, his brows stretched out. Because he felt the breath of Jin Qin, right on this ancient ship. It seems to be alive. That's enough. Returning to the side of Li Sheng and Ba Ran, he whispered, "Don't rush to do it, there is still a chance." This sentence was addressed to Ba Bo Ben. It was also to Li Sheng. This is the situation now. The Terran cultivator came, and the first to deal with it was the Mobat King and Sangmo. It has nothing to do with them. And this place is isolated. The human team can accurately find this place. I am afraid it has a special task. After the ancient ship came to a stop, the upper flag faltered. Everyone also saw the banner clearly. Stone Country. The corners of Jian Wushuang's eyes throbbed. He never expected that he would be so coincidental that he happened to meet Shirguo's team. Yuanjia has a narrow road. Offending Shirguo is a trivial matter, but he also offended some powerful stone people in Shir Kingdom. Maybe it's on this ship. If he shows up, not only will the other party not give face, but I am afraid they will make things difficult for him. But Jin Qin had already arrived on the ship of Shir Kingdom, and he didn't know what was going on. The hull is stationary. Hundreds of breaths on the deck rose. The 2 Masters of the 5 Tribulations Realm of the Stone Kingdom, a man and a woman, stood at the forefront. And Jin Qin crawled in front of them. Shirguo also knelt aside. Ancestor, Jin Qin has no choice but to transform into the body of a desolate beast, and ask the ancestor to keep his hands. Shirguo knelt on the ground, pleading bitterly. The female Jiejing in Shirguo frowned and said coldly, "Shirguo, don't forget, she is a married woman, and you have lost my face to Shirguo by protecting her like this. If they have given up their human body, then they are no different from the wild beasts." Another 5 Tribulation Realm powerhouse next to him came out to complete the battle. After all, Shirguo is Shirshio's grandson. Still have to give some face. Jinglian, we still focus on the task. Why bother with this kind of grievances between juniors? We should quickly find out the situation here and report it to the Gumu faction. Our task is considered complete. Jing Lian snorted coldly, not talking about Marble 9, and said indifferently, "Shir-san, I will give you this face, but don't forget, in the infinite world, everything must listen to me." This remark is extremely overbearing. Shir-san felt a little dissatisfied. This Jinglian demon girl is just a guest from Shirguo. If Shirguo didn't support her, let alone come to the holy congregation to compete for the saintess candidate, I'm afraid she would have died out long ago. She was the adopted daughter of an ancestor in Shirgwa. Now he dared to hold down one of the children of the Shirgwa clan. Naturally, there is some dissatisfaction. But for the sake of big plans, I can only bear it. Wave to indicate that Shirgyo quickly took Jinchen to leave, but didn't say anything. The Shirgwa team, the task here is very simple. It is to explore the situation here. Because after Jian Wushuang and the others came in, they isolated everything. Gumu faction felt that something was wrong, and asked the Stone Country team closest to this place to come and check. When Shir Kingdom's two great Five Tribulations Realm Universe Masters explored, they were taken aback. As for the Mobat King and Sangamo, they didn't care about them at all. After probing, you can kill it easily. But their investigation was stunned. It's the life force. Jing Lian's expression was shocked. Shir San was overjoyed. The power of life is the icing on the cake for the Lord of the Universe. But for the scattered robbery, it is just sending charcoal in the snow. Shirgwa can have a lot of powerhouses of the Seven Tribulations. If it can win the power of life in this place, then this holy meeting, even if it is not selected as a saint, is not in vain. Kill these trash fish first. Shir San and Jing Lian shot together. Shir Tian, you take people to deal with the wild beasts of the Four Tribulations realm, and these two will be handed over to us. Jing Lian directly instructed everyone to perform their duties. Jian Wushuang's secret path was not good, so he ran back with Li Xing with his bastard. It's over, they discovered the power of life. He originally thought that the other party would not be so sensitive, but he found out. Then definitely don't keep your hands, and all the wild beasts in this place will definitely be slaughtered. Jian Wushuang, why don't we take the initiative to speak out our identity? Li Xing became scared. Babo Ben is a little bit unable to understand Li Xing's words. Jian Wushuang shook his head and looked at Li Xing. There are big secrets hidden here, they won't let us go. Have you forgotten the strong men of the Sirius tribe? When they first came in, the biggest opponent was even the same. If you expose your identity now, you will only die faster. Without revealing their identity, at least they are on the side of the wild beasts, and they can use the power of the Mobat King and the Whale Shark King. When exposed, both sides will hunt them down. Anyway, those powerhouses in the Five Tribulations realm did not chase them down. It's just that some masters of the universe from the Four Tribulations realm have come. These people can still be blocked. Li Xing also understood, and now he can only rely on himself. Brother Ba, have you asked the king for help? Jian Wushuang thought of the king of the river again. Special beings in the Six Tribulations realm. If you can pull that person into the water, then this battle will be lively. These little fish and shrimps can also fish in troubled waters. Ba Bo swallowed his saliva and said in a daze, the letter has been passed, but there is no answer. If you pass the sound again, you will say that there is vitality in this place, as well as the Five Tribulations realm monks of the human race. Let him come quickly, otherwise the treasures will be robbed by the human race monks. As long as there are enough benefits, which king of the river can't sit still. With his strength, it is difficult to fall in the infinite world. Special beings in the Six Tribulations realm. It is no different from the Lord of the Universe in the Six Tribulations realm. It just doesn't have its own dojo. The same is true for the masters of the Five Tribulations realm universe, who can bring their own universe here. This is the advantage. Terran cannot threaten Taemu. He came, and even if he couldn't take this place in one go, he would be able to repel the Shirgwa's team. As for Jinchen, there is a high probability that he will get along with Shirgyo. Following Shirgwa's team is better than following him. Following him, there is still a high probability of wandering. Chapter 58-35. If the Empress does not appear for a day, they have to be in constant fear. And after he found Wu Li, he would definitely not stay here and would continue to move forward. At that time, there was more danger. Jin Qin is different from Li Xing. The strength is also different. Li Xing was dead, he wouldn't even blink. But if Jin Qin died, how would he explain to the female emperor, how to explain to which Yunji country lord? Although there is a high probability that in the future, He will not have anything to do with Vietnam. But the country Lord Yunji is the lord of the Seven Tribulations realm universe, and there may be communication in the future. Can't offend and can't live up to it. It's all right now. Jin Chen just happened to reconcile with her Xiao Langjun, and the two of them led a shameless life directly. Jian Wushuang himself was liberated, without any scruples. He spread his wings and spiraled into the sky. The divine power directly increased to 650,000. Those 4 tribulations in the Stone Kingdom were stunned. Thanks, Tusk, just because you want to catch me too. Jian Wushuang's candle dragon's claws rose slightly in the depths. The divine power that shook the heavens and the earth directly erupted, and shook back dozens of masters of the 4 tribulation realm universe. Especially Shi Tian, who took the lead, couldn't help but vomit blood and suffered a lot of injuries. Li Xing didn't know if it was the reason for turning into a desolate beast, and his shot was extremely ruthless, so he took the opportunity to make up for it. The power of Tyrannical Run has not recovered yet, so he can only watch the two of them slaughter the quartet. Brother Hu, it wasn't me who said, "How much strength did you hide?" Ben Boba was dumbfounded. Seeing that Li Xing, who is usually relatively insignificant, was able to kill the quartet, but also had some itchy hands, he rushed forward and caught a severely injured Stone Country powerhouse at will. It was just a meal. When the Mobat King saw that they had not yet started the fight, Jian Wushuang was almost over here, and his expression was happy. Whale Shark, don't use that trick, maybe we still have a chance. 3 on 2. The advantage lies in the beast. The Whale Shark King can also be counted as a 5 tribulations realm combat power. They all kept their backhands, and the supernatural power that they had just consumed has now recovered. Ben Boba took a look around, and he understood it. Everyone has a second hand. Anyone can quickly recover to the top. Only himself, nothing. However, thinking of Catfish Dong who had fallen, he still had a backing. Ha! The Whale Shark King and the Mobat King erupted at the same time, rushing to face the strongest Jinglian. The remaining Shirsan was naturally handed over to Sang Mo. The two sides fought together instantly. Vibrating ripples erupted, enough to shatter the 3 tribulations realm powerhouse. Jian Wushuang was not idle either. After all, Shirgua's team had 104 tribulation realms, and all of them were dispatched to besiege Jian Wushuang and others, except for some of the tribulation territories that wanted to protect the emperor. Shi Tian burned his divine power and shouted angrily, "Go together, kill the big-head fish first." It's fine to be beaten by Jian Wushuang. That fathead fish actually dared to come up and fall into trouble. Taking advantage of his divine power weakened, he came up to make up the knife. Also specialize in face slaps. You can't bear it. Jian Wushuang's supernatural power is as high as 650,000, and no one is the opponent of the Lord of the 4 tribulations realm. 5 times the power of the beast god, he can be regarded as using it to the extreme. The candle dragon's inner armor and the armor are worn on the body together. They directly ignored their attacks, and one person shook 100 people. Frozen is that every master of the 4 tribulations realm universe can get close. The strongest Shi Tian, but 600,000 supernatural power, burning supernatural power, is not as powerful as Jian Wushuang. And Jian Wushuang's supernatural power is almost unlimited. Given enough time for him, all the 100 masters of the 4 tribulations realm universe will fall. But these people have also learned to be smart. Start the wheel fight. And he will separate his hands to deal with Li Xing and Ba Rush. In this way, Jian Wushuang can throw the mouse bogey. Li Sheng and Ba Ran were chased by more than a dozen 4 tribulation realm universe masters. The divine power of the key tyrant hasn't recovered yet. Even if the main body is leaked, it can't resist so many masters of the universe. Brother Ba, eat this fruit. Li Sheng backhand took out a divine fruit from the mustard seeds. Ba Bo Ben was overjoyed and said excitedly, "Brother Li, you are not exposed." "Ha, my divine power recovers quickly, so I am not willing to eat." When the two were hunted down, they both laughed out. Jian Wushuang felt that the hearts of these two people were too big. "You find a chance to go out first, don't worry about me." He turned his head to remind the two of them. It is best to be able to go out first. It doesn't help much anyway. It is best to escape back to Weilong Mountain, where is at least safe. No matter how strong the human team is, they will not foolishly go to the lair of a special life in the Six Tribulations realm. After he punched back the Cosmic Masters who rushed up, his body flashed and stopped the Cosmic Masters who were chasing Li Sheng. Don't chase, your opponent is me. Jian Wushuang was floating in the air, and as soon as the arm of the candle dragon pressed hard, the wings behind him suddenly opened. The more than a dozen Cosmic Masters who have been chased have retreated one after another. Finalize, kill them for me. Shirton was anxious. The 9 Masters of the 4 Tribulations realm universe at the rear had successfully completed the formation and rushed up. One after another, the 9 battle formations gathered. Headless and faceless, holding the Pijian Jibao in both hands, he rushed towards Jian Wushuang. Really? Jian Wushuang frowned. The combination of this formation, Yu reading www. Every battle formation of Ukanshu.com has 600,000 supernatural powers. Together with Shirtion, there are 10 superpowers with 600,000 supernatural powers. Although he has a supernatural power of 650,000, he is also a little struggling. 2 fists are hard to beat 4 hands. Now he couldn't use the candle dragon wings to shake them back. Can only be close to the body, fighting fiercely. In the fight he suffered from the enemy. The divine power of 600,000 falls on the body, even if it is weakened a lot, it will still be very painful. It's boom. Jian Wushuang relied on speed to avoid the attack of one battle formation, but the next battle formation rushed forward. There is not much time to react at all. Shirtion held a warhammer and stood on the periphery waiting for an opportunity. Jian Wushuang tore through the sky with one claw, repelled the 4 battle formations, and turned around to face the other battle formations again. But just as he turned around, there was an extra figure behind him. Shirtion. He has been looking for this opportunity for a long time. Seeing that Jian Wushuang was distracted, he immediately rushed up, raised his warhammer, and hit Jian Wushuang's forehead. Boom! The huge blow directly drove Jian Wushuang from the sky into the ground of the Blessed Land. This movement is not small. The Mobat King also noticed. I thought that there should be a chance for 3-on-2, but it turned out that it was far from an opponent. The whale shark and the Mephit were both pressed and beaten by Jinglian. Sang Yamo wasn't much better. Being beaten by Shirsan, he didn't have the ability to fight back. Now I found that Jian Wushuang couldn't hold it anymore. They panicked completely. But they still have whole cards. The treasure that is already full of divine power. If it is used for these opponents, it can definitely be killed instantly. But this treasure is for the opponent TMU King. If it is used now, the plan was completely shattered. Chapter 5836. In fact, there is no dispute over interest between them and the human team. If it doesn't work, apply oil on the soles of your feet. That treasure should never be used when it is not a last resort. It's just that the situation is getting worse now, they have to consider fleeing. At this time, the 2 who were fleeing, Li Sheng and Ben Boba, saw Jian Wushuang being shot down, and their speed slowed down. You said, can brother who resist it? Babo Ben asked with some worry. Li Sheng blinked and said vaguely, it should be possible. Stone Country Warship. Above the deck, there are still several 4 Tribulation realm powerhouses watching the battle. In addition to outside the 4 Tribulations, there are also many 3 Tribulations realm powerhouses, as well as several emperors. Among them are Shirjiao and Jin Qin. Jin Qin did not reveal the identity of Jian Wushuang. At this moment, seeing Jian Wushuang being attacked by Shirtion, my heart sank. These years, the reason why she was able to live. It's all because of Jian Wushuang. No matter how much she had opinions on Jian Wushuang, she would tell the difference. Seeing Jian Wushuang being besieged, he was also worried. At this time, he was attacked and his breath was weakened. She couldn't stand it anymore, and she told Shirjiao about Jian Wushuang's identity. What? That's Jian Wushuang. Shirjiao said in shock. Jin Qin nodded. She didn't know why Jian Wushuang didn't reveal his identity, and he wanted to fight with the strong Shirgua. Wouldn't it be good to just say it? But Sergio understood. If I really want to say it, I'm afraid it's the enemy. So it can't be said. He was defeated by Jian Wushuang at the beginning, but he still had the confidence to catch up with Jian Wushuang's footsteps. But when he knew that Jian Wushuang, an emperor, was facing 104 Tribulations realm, that confidence was completely wiped out. He couldn't surpass it for the rest of his life. To him, Jian Wushuang is an opponent and an enemy. But this opponent is respectable. Back then Jian Wushuang gave him the fruit of restoring his supernatural power, which he couldn't forget. Jian Wushuang is protecting Jinchen all the way, he can also see this. Immediately he decided to help Jian Wushuang. Seek help from the ancestors. Shi San, who unilaterally beat Sang Yimou, looked stunned after receiving Sergio's voice transmission, and turned his head to look in the direction of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang at this time was smashed into the ground. The 9 great wars rushed forward to not give Jian Wushuang a chance to breathe. Want to kill? Shi Tian took the opportunity to smash Jian Wushuang's body with a hammer. The candle dragon wings protected themselves, all blocked. But Jian Wushuang was still spitting blood. The hammer just now made Jian Wushuang's consciousness a little fuzzy. With a thirst, Jian Wushuang regained consciousness. His eyes were bloodshot, and he was completely angry. Originally, he still had his hands left, but these people always wanted him to die. Can't let it go any longer. Get out of here. A strong breath shook back the besieged battle formation. Jian Wushuang's wings vibrated, and once again soared into the sky. You angered me. Feeling someone rushing behind him, his backhand was a claw, which directly tore the battle formation. There was even more blood on the candle dragon's claws. When Shi San saw all this from a distance, his eyes flickered. Then he glanced at the direction of the warship. Sergio. Shiguo's contemporary emperors can be ranked in the top 3. It's Shi Xiu's grandson again. The future is limitless. It's a pity that I'm fascinated by the Yu princess. This could easily satisfy him. But Jian Wushuang was killed halfway and interfered with everything. It made Sergio decadent for a while. Later, after Jin Chen and Jian Wushuang got married, they finally looked away, and once again exploded their potential, surpassing many Tianjiao in one fell swoop. It is the seedling of the new master of the universe in the future Stone Country. Now that I saw Jin Chen again, Dao Exen had obviously begun to loosen again. And seeing Jian Wushuang so powerful is even more shocking. I feel that I am not worthy of Jin Chen again. This is what Shi San did not like to see. Let go of Jian Wushuang. He was shaken. But for the family's arrogance. Can't let it go. Sergio didn't expect that his kindness would make the family ancestors move towards Jian Wushuang's murderous intent. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Shi San said to Shi Tian, kill this person quickly, and help me solve this flood dragon. Yes. Shi Tian waved his warhammer, and began to order the 9 great wars to prepare to rejoin the body. The 9 big battle formations gathered in one place. Jian Wushuang was stunned for a moment, thinking that the other party wanted to go together again. It was discovered that the 9 great wars had begun to combine, slowly converge into a super battle formation. The leader of this super battle formation is Shi Tian. You beast, prepare to die. The battle array made multiple overlapping sounds, which was extremely shocking. One hand is a warhammer, the other is broken. Divine power is 700,000. Jian Wushuang felt a tremendous pressure. He was hopeless by divine power alone. The supernatural power of the body began to gradually decline. 600,000. 500,000. 400,000. After becoming the norm, Jian Wushuang tore off his disguise, revealing his original appearance. A black gown, carrying a simple blue sword. Long hair fluttering, vaguely covering the sword eyes. The super battle formation also stopped. At this time, someone had recognized Jian Wushuang's identity. What to do? Everyone was stunned. What they had killed was a desolate beast. Now I found that the wild beast was Jian Wushuang. For a while, it was unacceptable. How to fight this? Why fight? Shi Tian didn't care about so many. He shouted loudly, it's this beast's blindfold, don't be confused. Jian Wushuang's breath was exposed, and everyone saw it. San is the same. It's just that no one blocked it. That is acquiescence. Anyway, this place is an infinite world. I can't blame others if I die. After seeing Jian Wushuang reveal his identity, Li Xing felt that Jian Wushuang was about to negotiate. But what followed was exactly the same as Jian Wushuang told him. The strong of the stone country will not keep their hands. They won't keep their hands just because they are humans. In the outside world. Nor is it difficult to fight because of the same clan. On the contrary, the biggest enemy of the human race is the human race. Those special lives, I never thought about calculating them. The human race has always attacked the secret realm where some special lives are located. This led to a hostile relationship. After seeing Jian Wushuang's true face, Ba Babin was also taken aback, but he chose to believe Shi Tian's words. In his opinion, Jian Wushuang is a barren beast. Same as him. He is the brother of an ethnic group. Otherwise, why would Jian Wushuang save him? It's all fake. Ba Babin said silently. His speed increased again, and he wanted to leave this place as soon as possible and return to Weilong Mountain to move the king over and smooth everything. On the deck of the battleship, Shi Jiao's eyes gradually dimmed. He saw the killing intent. Fists clenched. It cannot be changed. He has no strength, and his only remaining identity cannot stop the ancestors. Jin Chen's eyes were red, and he dared not look again. The Mobat king and others were also shocked by Jian Wushuang's identity. Sang Yimou found Jian Wushuang's aura, which was somewhat similar to the aura of a strong man he had attacked on the warship earlier. Chapter 58-37. Anger was rising in his eyes, but he couldn't get away. Otherwise, you have to eat Jian Wushuang raw. Under the gaze of countless people, Jian Wushuang did not ask for mercy. Jian Wushuang leaked the deity. It's not like these people think. They have to seek peace with the identity of the human race. The fight became like this. Is there a reason for peace talks? He leaked out the deity. Naturally, he wanted to use the sword of myriad tribulations. The silence speaks. The moment he pulled out the sword of 10,000 tribulations, it represented his approach. He is going to fight again. Double sword slide. The sword has no hands crossed. Life on one hand, death on the other. Two swords in black and white. Soar. Go straight to the bottom of the battle. The starry sky catalog hovered in the sky. Since the divine power can't be beaten, then there is a source to defeat the opponent. Good coming. Shi Tianwu moved his warhammer and sarcastically said, "Look at me, smash your head." After speaking, he swung his warhammer and greeted him. Blade versus warhammer. There was a deafening sound. Jian Wushuang walked through the battle formation, his hands trembling uncontrollably. Click. The sword of 10,000 tribulations fell from his hands. In the fight just now, his mouth was numb and his body was trembling. Only the origin is still tenacious. The power of the starry sky fills the whole body. The eternal changes have never weakened. But he couldn't hold his sword. He lost that blow. That's it. Shi Tian manipulated the battle formation, turned around and mocked, "How can you beat me?" 700,000 supernatural power. Very powerful. The peak combat power of the 5 tribulations realm. Jian Wushuang is indeed not an opponent. His support is almost used. The current Yin universe was already used to escape, and couldn't stop the opponent at all. The promotion of general armor is not enough. Now, he only has the last hole cards left. As for his ancient jade pot, there is only 700,000 supernatural powers in it. Even if you use it, you can't beat the opponent. After all, standing itself has 700,000 supernatural powers. And he didn't want the ancient temple jade pot to defeat the opponent. He wants to use his true strength to defeat his opponent. Steady his wrists, his palm mind exploded, and put the fallen sword of 10,000 tribulations back into his hands. As long as he holds the sword, he has absolute confidence. Even if the other party has 700,000 supernatural powers, he also has confidence. The first 2 swords of the star catalog. He has realized consummation. The power of death, he really learned a lot from Where to Die. And life can also be pushed back to death. Can help him understand the true meaning of death. Then the rest is combined. It's the same as the combination of divine power and origin. Both are extremely difficult. The supernal change requires him to become the master of the universe to have hope of creation. The same goes for the third sword of the star catalog. All need him to reach the realm of the Lord of the universe. The union of death and life. Reincarnation sword. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes and opened the mountain with a sword facing the battlefield that was once again killed. After fighting again, barely able to resist. But it's still a disadvantage, and it's not an opponent at all. Sword. The representative's killing and fierceness. Came across the warhammer. Be perfectly restrained. Break through 10,000 laws with one force. His sword moves, no matter how powerful. The power can't keep up and it won't work. Jian Wushuang's hand and arm holding the sword were shattered. If the divine power can merge with the eternal transformation, he will not be so fragile. But with the use of divine power, the power of the starry sky cannot be used. Damn it! Jian Wushuang held the sword, still not convinced. Strike out again. With every collision, his physical body and divine power were shattered. Soon there was no complete place on the body. Even if the recovery is quick, the opponent can strike the hammer faster. There is no flesh and blood on the arm. The fingers were broken one by one. But he still held the sword and never let go. Insist. Perseverance. Jian Wushuang relied on these 2 points to come to today. The experts in the 5 tribulations realm in the distance stopped. I want to see how this legendary emperor fell. The eyes of the whale shark and the magic bat face each other, and the natural music restores the supernatural power. Sang Yimou didn't think so. Jian Wushuang must die. And to die in his hands. Human race, you should die in my hands. Sang Mo's flood dragon deity rushed out directly while San was not paying attention. San originally wanted to stop him, but found that the other party was running towards Jian Wushuang. Random voice transmission to Tian. Let that wild beast kill him, don't dirty your hands. Where is Jin Chen still looking at on the battleship? If Shirgua killed Jian Wushuang, it might still make Yugua hostile. Although I don't care. It is best to get rid of a scourge with the help of others. Tian controlled the battle formation, hitting Jian Wushuang with a hammer, and he hadn't enjoyed it yet. Hearing the ancestor's order, he could only stop. Boy, I don't need me to kill you. It seems that you have a lot of enemies. Tian sneered and backed away. And Sang Yimou also rushed over at this time. Li Sheng and Ba Babin, who had already escaped here, stopped seeing Jian Wushuang about to fall. Ba Rubin is not deceiving himself either. The Hu Biao he knew was indeed a human race. Going out now, there is no time for King Tianmu to come. Even if King Tianmu came, it was impossible to save Jian Wushuang. Brother Li, go and run for your life. After speaking, Ba Babin turned and rushed towards Jian Wushuang. Li Xing yelled anxiously, "You stupid fish, are you going to die?" He really didn't understand. Rush to a barren beast? Why did he save Jian Wushuang? But 100 years of friendship. Why bother? Leaving him standing at the entrance of the cave alone would not go, nor would he not go. Thoughts reversed. He thought of what he wanted to protect. The back of the family fell. The Li family is left with him as the master of the universe. He can't go to die. Thinking of this, he rushed out of the blessed land without looking back. Benbo Ba burst out with all his strength, from the gate of life to the gate of death. He could have chosen to escape, but he didn't look at saving his own person and went to die. The master was so absent back then, and the master also left. Brother even died in his hands. He didn't want to live in guilt anymore. Brother Hu, I'll help you. The incarnation of the deity, shaking his fat body, flew towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang heard the call and turned his head to look subconsciously. Randomly shouted angrily, "Go! You dead fish, come just right." Tian smiled with joy. When he was not in the battle, the fat-headed fish beat him frequently. This is the opportunity for revenge. Raising the warhammer, he blocked Benboba's path. Boom! The warhammer hit Benboba's fish head with one blow. Lung is that his head is hard, and it can't stop the hammer of 700,000 supernatural power. Benboba was blinded directly. The eyes also began to blur. Sher Tion lifted the warhammer and hit it down again. Benboba's huge fish head was completely sunken. Such a big fish head, but so unbeatable. Before Sher Tion couldn't beat it, the opponent couldn't hold it anymore. An extremely disappointing kick hit Benboba's back, directly kicking his deity scattered all over the place. The huge fish head just fell in front of Jian Wuduan. Chapter 58:38. Benboba's eyes were blurred, and the last thing he saw was the face of Jian Wushuang's deity. At the corners of the mouth, blood was flowing. Exhausting the only consciousness on his head, Chong Jian Wushuang said, "It turns out. Brother Hu looks this way. It looks better than I." Jian Wushuang stretched out his hand, trying to pass the life force to the opponent, but found that it was too late. His eyes began to shrink. The blue flames of the power of the stars kept surging. His divine body also began to loosen. Constant vibration. Jian Wushuang lowered his head, gritted his teeth and growled deep in his throat, "You shouldn't be back. He can't die. He still has a thought of the universe, and he can use 3 shocks to shuttle. You can escape. It's just that he doesn't know." Thought he was in desperation. The rushed Sang Yimo did not change because of the fall of Benboba. He was still ready to attack Jian Wushuang. Seeing the huge fish head, Sher Tion was still a little unhappy, and the Operation Battle Formation fell from the sky, squeezing the fish head to pieces with the Battle Formation knees. The blood in the fish's head splashed Jian Wushuang's face. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank, and a wave of anger erupted from the bottom of his heart. At this moment he broke out completely. Divine power skyrocketed with the source. The blue breath on his body rose directly into the sky. What? Jian Wushuang clenched his fists and exploded, directly shaking Sang Yimo and Sher Tion in front of him. OM. At this time, he has undergone a qualitative change. The blue breath on the body condenses into reality. The divine power was released, and the power of the starry sky was gathered together. This is the super-eternal change. Divine power and origin directly skyrocketed 50 times. The original normal power of 400,000 yuan has increased by 50 times the combat power. Now it is 800,000 supernatural powers. It is equal to double the divine power. And the origin has also doubled. It was originally comparable to the perfect universe, but suddenly 2 universes were superimposed. He now displays the star catalog, which is stronger than before. Killing the 5 tribulations realm with 1 sword is very casual. Is this the super-eternal change? Jian Wushuang's palm gathered a breath, feeling incredible. He became stronger, but there was no joy. Instead, anger filled his whole body. Sang Yimo found that Jian Wushuang's aura had changed, and thought that Jian Wushuang had just exploded. He rushed forward, opened his blood basin, and wanted to swallow Jian Wushuang completely. The blood basin swallowed towards Jian Wushuang with a big mouth. Jian Wushuang didn't even turn his head, but just raised his hand violently and threw Sang Yimo hundreds of miles away, hitting the barrier at the core of the blessed land. The hit Sang Yimo grinned, unable to believe Jian Wushuang's strength. He just touched Jian Wushuang and took it. He had felt it before. But that time, it was King Gamyu facing the 6 tribulations realm. Sher San and the others who saw this scene in the distance were all stunned. "How is it possible?" Sher San exclaimed. Jinglian Demon Girl didn't know who Jian Wushuang was. She had been in retreat to prepare for the holy meeting, and she didn't understand it. Not too lazy to care about Jian Wushuang. But Sher San knew that Jian Wushuang was just an emperor. He thought it was the limit before he could reach the threshold of the 5 tribulations realm. As a result, with a single blow, Sang Yimo was seriously injured. He can't do it. The Mobat King and the Whale Shark King, on the other hand, leaked the joy, and quickly transmitted Sang Yimo to tell him not to fight Jian Wushuang again. Maybe he will have to join forces with Jian Wushuang later. They just don't know that Jian Wushuang now doesn't need any allies. One person can overturn all of them. The people on the battleship were also extremely shocked by Jian Wushuang's outbreak. Shi Jiao opened his mouth even more, not knowing what to say at this time. The bottom of my heart only feels the stupidity of the ancestors. And narrow. Shi Tian was a little panicked at this time, and exclaimed, "How can you be so strong?" "Because, standing in front of you is Super Jian Wushuang." As soon as Jian Wushuang's voice fell, he disappeared in front of Shi Tian. Shi Tian's eyes and Yan Li wanted to capture Jian Wushuang's figure at the same time, but found that Jian Wushuang had really disappeared before his eyes. "Idiot, I'm above my head." Jian Wushuang had already collected the sword of 10,000 tribulations, because he felt that this kind of trash was not worth using the sword of 10,000 tribulations. The super eternal transformation is simply the most common power, which is 800,000 supernatural powers. Below 6 tribulations, there are almost no opponents. With arms around his chest, he lowered his head and stared at each other in disdain. Shi Tian quickly raised his head, wanting to take the initiative. Jian Wushuang landed abruptly, and his feet slammed on the battlefield operated by Shi Tian. Stepping on Shi Tian directly on the ground, he spit out, sarcastically said, "What about your high posture? What about your strength?" Shi Tian struggled to break free from the soles of Jian Wushuang's feet. Just getting up from the ground, Jian Wushuang raised his leg and kicked with one knee, kicking Shi Tian 100 miles away again and ending with Sang Mo. All hit the barrier. It's just that Sang Mo and honestly hid aside, not daring to step forward. Shi Tian was extremely unconvinced and roared, "Jian Wushuang, you son-in-law, I want you to die." Crazy Shi Tian rushed with his warhammer. Jian Wushuang was just a finger, blocking the once unmatched warhammer. Under the warhammer, he did not suffer less, and this warhammer also killed domineering. Shi Tian couldn't believe that the warhammer in his hand could not shake Jian Wushuang. He lifted it up again and slammed it at Jian Wushuang. Thousands of times in a row. Jian Wushuang blocked it with a finger. At the last touch, Jian Wushuang directly pinched the warhammer with his hands. This warhammer is the treasure of the universe at the 4 tribulations realm level, extremely hard. Jian Wushuang squeezed the warhammer, making Shi Tian unable to pull it out at all, and yelled randomly, "Ah!" Cracks began to appear in the warhammer in his hand. "Break it to me!" He exploded again. He was stunned to smash the warhammer of the 4 tribulations realm level. This time, Shi Tian was completely panicked. Even the treasure was crushed by Jian Wushuang, and the battle formation he was operating was a little unstable, and he took 2 steps back, pointing to Jian Wushuang and said, "You, how?" I was so scared that I even spoke out. Jian Wushuang's figure leaped forward, raising his hand and hitting the battlefield's chest directly with a punch. The battle formation with 700,000 supernatural powers disintegrated in an instant. As the battle formation disintegrated, hundreds of 4 tribulations realm powerhouses, together with Shi Tian, vomited blood to the end. No more combat power. Jian Wushuang slowly stepped forward, stepped on Shi Tian's cheek, looked down at the opponent, and mocked, "Aren't you very good just now? Why are you not now?" Poof. Spitting out a mouthful of water on the opponent's face, Jian Wushuang wiped the corner of his mouth, disdainfully said, "You trash." After speaking, I was ready to solve the other party. It can be regarded as revenge for Ba Bo Ben. And everyone in that battlefield must die. On the other side, Shi San et al. Seeing that things have become uncontrollable. Shi San couldn't stand it anymore, and with a flash of figure he came to Jian Wufang. Chapter 5839. Unexpectedly, he is really an unparalleled nephew. It seems that everything just now is a misunderstanding. Shi San came out at this time to make peace. Seeing the arrival of his ancestor, Shi Tian hurriedly called for help. "My ancestor, save me." Facing death, the fear made him tremble. The appearance of Shi San is his life-saving straw, and he naturally has to grasp it. In Shi Tian's eyes, Shi San was a life-saving straw, but in Jian Wushuang's eyes, the other party was nothing. Even if the King of Heaven came here today, he would kill Shi Tian. Hearing Shi San's words, he almost laughed, staring at the opponent coldly, and sarcastically said, "Are you so dim-eyed that you can't recognize your grandfather?" He didn't give him a good face. The old guy must have recognized him just now, but he still let Shirtian attack. I'm afraid it was his order. Come out and pretend now? Even he will clean up with him later. After Shirsan heard it, he was not angry. The Jinglian demon girl also flew over at this time. This Shirtian is a great-grandson of his adoptive father, so it is natural to protect him. Shirsan, why don't you talk to him, dare to provoke Shirgua and kill me directly? The Jinglian demon girl, although not a member of the royal family, has a royal family's disease. Outrageous and unreasonable. All strength is respected, because Shirgua is the strongest. This kind of thinking is most beneficial to them. When Shirsan heard this, he frowned, scolding Jinglian secretly for not being able to see the situation clearly. There are still 3 barren beasts on the field now. Once started, Jian Wushuang joined forces with the opponent. They just fall below. At that time, let alone the power of life, special tasks will not be completed. When they came here, they scored the benefits. It is the best policy to get the power of life. Originally killed Jian Wushuang, an insignificant little person, he was not afraid to offend Yugua. But this little man has exploded with the power of a big man. That's different. Friend Wushuang, don't be surprised, Jinglian is this character. After speaking, he turned his head and waved in the direction of the battleship, motioning Shirjiao to bring Jinshin over. Jian Wushuang knew what the other party meant, and before Shirjiao brought Jinshin, he smashed Shirtian's head into pieces. Annihilated together with the source. The murderous look leaked from Jinglian's eyes, and she wanted to shoot directly. But at this time, the Whale Shark King and the Mobat King both flew over, pretending to be confused and said, "Why, bully me on Weilong Mountain, right?" The two sides were in a stalemate for a while. But Shirsan has absolute bargaining chips. But he discovered that Shirjiao didn't listen to him. According to his plan, it would be fine even if Shirtian died. Just as venting Jian Wushuang. Then let Shirjiao bring Jinshin over, and then show it with courtesy and move with affection. Just let this matter go. As a result, Shirjiao was overwhelmed at this time. Ignore him directly. On the battleship, Jinshin did not speak. Shirjiao turned his head and didn't look at which ancestor or listen to what the ancestor said. At this time, let him hold Jinshin to threaten Jian Wushuang, he couldn't do it. He didn't believe in the ancestor of Shirsan, and dared to kill him because of this incident. His grandfather is Shirxiao. Although the seniority is not as good as Shirsan. But the strength is stronger than Shirsan. No one in Shirgua's team dared to threaten him. This time, he will definitely protect Jinshin. This is the opportunity Jian Wushuang gave him. Naturally, you have to grasp it. Jinshin had also told him that Jian Wushuang entered the family because of the number of sacred guilds and would leave by himself in the future. The two will still be together. Now, because of this matter, how can he betray the original each other? It's just that he does. Let Shirsan look like a clown, flushed and anxious face. Jian Wushuang, you have to think about it clearly. You are the horseman of the Yu country. You are a human race. How dare you go with the barren beast? Shirsan was anxious and could only use the race to threaten Jian Wushuang. But now Jian Wushuang will no longer be threatened by these. He looked around at the stone country powerhouse lying on the ground all around. When I was attacked by a human monk, no one stood up. Instead, a big head fish and a barren beast rushed to help me. He raised the arm of the candle dragon, palms up, and said coldly, "To me, you are the enemy, and he is my friend. If the enemy killed his friend, I will take revenge." What? The claws of the candle dragon burst into the sky with countless streams of light, randomly scattered in the sky, and smashed to the ground. Shirsan was also angry, and the demon girl Jinglian wanted to step forward to stop it. But I felt a series of attacks from the top of my head. The two can only retreat and avoid. But those 4 Tribulations realm powerhouses lying on the ground couldn't escape. One by one turned into powder. Jian Wushuang put down his arms, looked up to the sky, and muttered silently, "The man is dead." A word of condolences. The anger within him receded. At this time, I also felt an unprecedented sense of oppression. That is the reason why the strength is not supported. Super eternal changes, only the Lord of the universe can bear. His current strength is still too weak. Not enough to bear. With his current state, he would be breathless if he insisted on holding a stick of incense at most. The battle must be resolved quickly. Shergwa lost 100 elites this time, and he will definitely not let him go. Even if he goes out, the other party will chase him down. But at that time, he wouldn't care about this. Anyway, if you go out this time, you will be hunted down. One more is not more, one less is not much. Never mind. Sher San's anger rose, but reason overwhelmed his anger. Can't do it. If he does it, Jian Wushuang joined forces with Desolate Beast and could only escape. Not only will the task be wasted, but also the vitality will be lost. But at the moment, there are no factors to break the game. The Jinglian demon girl was also shocked by Jian Wushuang's strength, even stronger than her 5 Tribulations realm consummation. With a divine power of 800,000, he already had the combat power of the 6 Tribulations realm and the Dispersal Tribulation. Although the Whale Shark King and the Mobat King have been wooing Jian Wushuang, they are also very afraid of Jian Wushuang's combat power. At this time, he dared not take the initiative. Only Jian Wushuang is the breaker, whoever helps wins. But Jian Wushuang never thought of helping any of them. Had it not been for the limited time, he would have wanted to kill all these people. That killing intent is still extremely strong. Fortunately, his anger is gone, otherwise it is really possible to do so. The big grievance was reported, and he didn't need to do this kind of useless battle anymore. Now he has only one goal. That is to break the barrier at the core of the Blessed Land. See if the mysterious person inside is Wu Li. Can be considered to understand the heart disease. If not, then go. If so, then take Wu Li away. He didn't want to stay here anyway. Just when everyone was waiting for him to take action, Jian Wushuang took the initiative to leave the circle and head straight for the enchantment. After the Whale Shark King discovered Jian Wushuang's target, he furiously said, "Dare you? Where is his secret hidden, if it is broken by Jian Wushuang?" That's it. At this moment, he couldn't control so much, his figure trembled. Chapter 5840. The whole blessed land began to shake. A huge totem appeared on the ground. Both Sher San and Jing Lian were taken aback and quickly backed away. I originally thought that a 4 Tribulations realm could burst out 700,000 supernatural powers, which was very strange. Sure enough, there is a backhand. The Mobat King never expected that the whale shark would be so powerful. The moment the totem appeared, the whale shark's divine power had reached 750,000. The ground began to crack. The whale shark transformed into a body, transformed into a whale shark and jumped into the ground. The ground is like a puddle with water splashes. The Mobat King was stunned. The whale shark actually entered the ground and could not feel the breath anymore. But the totem on the ground is still spinning. Then he felt a terrifying breath, which came from the soles of his feet, and quickly backed away. Boom! After a loud noise, the huge whale shark rushed out of the ground. Then it turned into a human form again, but this time the whale shark's divine power directly reached 800,000. The Mobat King tremblingly said, 5 Tribulations realm, you have already become 5 Tribulations realm. He couldn't believe that the whale shark king had been suppressing his own strength. The whale shark's movements were great, and Jian Wushuang also turned his head to look. Unexpectedly, this whale shark king hid so deeply. Originally had 800,000 divine powers, but they had to pull them to charge that treasure. Moreover, there have been rumors in Weilongshan that he has great ambitions. It now appears that everything in the beginning was disguised by the other party. It is also a sign of weakness. This kind of weakness is much stronger than he was a beast with his tail sandwiched after exposing the 5 Tribulations realm. I am afraid that as long as he exposes himself to the 5 Tribulations realm, King Gamyu will be killed. Only now exposed. It was because he wanted to break the barrier. Inside, I am afraid that there are really big secrets hidden. The more this happened, the more he wanted to go in and take a look. After the whale shark king showed his complete body, he coldly snorted, "Don't even want to leave today, any of you will die for me." As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand and summoned the treasure that could reach the limit. Faju shot out instantly with the opening facing down. The Mobat king was desperate. He knows that this thing has 1,000,000 supernatural powers. At such close range, he would be shaken to death even if he didn't hit him. San felt a fatal crisis, and took the Jinglian demon girl and fled. Not even the people on the warship. Jian Wushuang hurriedly shouted at this moment, "Hurry up and take her away." No matter how fast his speed is, it is too late, so he can only inform Shurjiao and let him escape with Jinqin. And I'm not afraid at all. Candle dragon wings envelop the whole body. It's a pity that he used super eternal thickening, and his divine power was no longer in a limit state, but an overload state. Even with general armor, he could no longer use the power of the beast god. Show it again, that's fine. 800,000, doubling the power of the beast can increase 100,000. Twice the threshold of the 7 tribulations realm. That's too scary. But now he is facing a blow of 1,000,000 supernatural powers, and there is not much danger. Condensation of divine power and origin. There is also an increase in vitality. He is enough to deal with it. And he still has 3 shocks in the universe. Can completely avoid the core attack. It's just the fluctuation of the attack that couldn't hurt him. But others are miserable. Even San, a top powerhouse in the 5 tribulations realm, can hardly resist. The treasure in the hands of the whale shark king began to explode. On the battleship, Shurjiao pulled Jinqin and had already fled. Although the warship is very close to the entrance of the cave. But that powerful might exploded too quickly. The 2 of them wanted to escape both. It's already a little unlikely. Even though Shurjiao used the treasure of escape that his grandfather gave him, the speed was comparable to the peak of the 4 tribulations realm, and he still couldn't do anything about it. "Chainer, you must live well." Shurjiao stared at Jinqin tenderly, and after speaking he pushed all the power in his body towards Jinqin. Jinqin couldn't accept it and shouted, "No." The female emperor also gave her the treasure of escape, because she was well protected by Jian Wushuang along the way, so it was useless. As a result, things are impermanent. He was outside the blessed land and was attacked by Sang Imo used the treasure given by the mother to escape. It happened to meet the Shurgua team. Saved her life. At the same time, I saw Shurjiao again. Both have countless joys. And Jian Wushuang had told her that after this sacred meeting was over, he would leave Yu Kingdom and would never return. And if the Queen Mother can become a saint when she ascends the throne, then he was able to be together with Shurjiao in an upright manner. Never expected. Just now, everything is still moving in a good direction, the sudden parting of life and death. It was really hard for her to accept. That power enveloped her, and was thrown out of the blessed land along with endless power. But Shurjiao left her forever. At the edge of Fudi Cave. Shurjiao was in the sea of fire, half of his body turned into bones, while the other half of his body was staring in the direction Jian Wushuang was, and laughed at himself. "Jian Wushuang, in the end, I still have to ask you." In an instant, the other half of the body also turned into bones, and eventually even the bones turned into powder. Jian Wushuang also seemed to hear a voice of sustenance. It's just that he is now fully evading the core attack. He didn't expect the whale shark king to be so crazy. Swaying from side to side, I have to stare at him. Fortunately, he didn't save Jinqin, calm. Otherwise his sin would be serious. Deadly. The whale shark king laughed wildly. This time, the Mobat king is dead and can't die anymore. San and Jinglian demon girl desperately escaped. At the entrance, I saw Jinqin with dull eyes. Where is Shurjiao? When San saw Jinqin, he thought of Shurjiao. In his opinion, Shurjiao had the most hope of escape, because Shurjiao had the treasure of escape from Shurjiao. After a glance, Shurjiao was not found, and then he looked at Jinqin's eyes. San understood. Scourge. He sighed. Tianjiao of the Shurgua generation is gone. Together with so many masters of the 4 tribulations realm universe are gone. I was fine when I came. hundreds of strong men. He and Jinglian are the only ones who are dead now. But he still did not give up. Even if she couldn't help Jinglian become a candidate for a saint, she still had to get the vitality inside. Only when he got that vitality, this time he returned to the royal clan, he would not be punished. After all the people with him have fallen, something that has never happened in so many years. If the team is destroyed, it's normal. But Shergwa couldn't. Although the team is not the strongest, but the number of people is the most. This extinction team, the loss of the strong, made Shergwa feel distressed. Jinglian was also very angry. Her saint candidate is gone. This time, she lost so many strong people, and she would not get any good expressions when she returned to the country in the future. All the work done. Jinglian was really angry, turned her head and said viciously at Jinchen, "It's all because of you, the broom star, why don't you die? You guessed it right to die." All the anger that the demon girl Jinglian had nowhere to release was addressed to Jinchen. Chapter 5841. Jinchen stood there, her eyes moved, and her heart died. Now there is only a shell left. You are right. She smiled at the Jinglian demon girl, then flew into the foodie cave and jumped into the sea of fire. It was too late for Swordsman to stop. He could only cover his face and said, "Oh, why bother?" The flames in the blessed land burned a stick of incense before it disappeared completely. The whale shark king threw away the broken treasure in his hand. And the barrier at the core of the blessed land has begun to shatter. This made his eyes flicker. Feishan rushed over. But the next moment he was kicked from the sky by Jian Wushuang and kicked directly into the ground. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to stay, because he could no longer maintain the super eternal change. Taking advantage of the last breath, his body flashed. Directly re-enchantment. With the last breath, a hole was broken directly on the barrier full of cracks. The entrance to the cave is small and weak. And his figure directly transformed into a mist, entering the inside of the barrier at the last moment. The whale shark king, who turned over, saw Jian Wushuang enter, and then rushed over. As a result, he slammed into the enchantment and couldn't get in at all. How is it possible? He really didn't understand. Jian Wushuang could get in, but why he couldn't get in? Angry, he constantly bombarded the enchantment. When small round holes appeared everywhere in the enchantment, they wanted to enter but was blocked. Can't get in at all. But he saw Jian Wushuang rush in. He didn't know that this enchantment was actually alive. To be precise, the barrier is being manipulated. Whoever wants to enter can enter. On the contrary, no one can break it. Just a million of supernatural powers just caused some cracks in the barrier. Even if King Tmu in the Six Tribulations realm was allowed to come over, he couldn't break it open. And King Tmu, this time really came. Sure Sanjen Jinglian's front foot came in. Queen Tmu followed. It seems that I missed a good show. King Tmu smiled and stared at everyone. The mantis catches the cicada and the oriole is behind. No matter how deep the whale shark king hid, this time he still lost completely. Shan and Jinglian's complexion changed dramatically. The king of the Roman River. The two were a little desperate this time. Shergwa's unlucky thing this time, let them meet. The Six Tribulations realm powerhouse appeared. Both of them knew it. Just when they were about to flee. The whale shark king, but the sound transmission came over, cooperation. The two simple words gave them hope again. There must be no escape. King Tmu was standing at the exit. How to escape? But I heard that the whale shark wants to cooperate. Then there is still a chance for the three of them to join forces to deal with the Six Tribulations realm. And this opportunity is great. The cunning whale shark king, this time did not waste his tongue, trying to reconcile with the Tmu king. Because he knows best that it is impossible for the two to reconcile. Once he reaches the Five Tribulations realm, Tmu will kill him. Can only cooperate with the human monk, and then think of a way. For people, two parties. Fighting. Start. The battle in the blessed land, round after round. And within the enchantment at the core of the blessed land. It is extremely peaceful. After Jian Wushuang entered, the superchanging state disappeared. his body became loose and almost fell. Fortunately, someone supported him at this time. Looking up, it turned out to be a tree man covered in green leaves. "Are you?" Jian Wushuang was surprised. After feeling the powerful life force of the opponent, he understood. A warm feeling came. It is the life force passed on to him by the tree. "Wu Li is in retreat. You can accompany me to wait for him here." After the tree man helped Jian Wushuang regain his supernatural power, he took Jian Wushuang and walked towards the cave in front. The outer door of the cave is a cliff. On the edge of the cliff, there is a wind-riding pavilion. Jian Wushuang followed the opponent into the pavilion. "But my heart is very puzzled. I looked around and found the spirit of vegetation everywhere in the corner outside the cave." Seeing this, he was shocked. "I thought I had returned to Qishan Temple." "You know." Shuren asked Jian Wushuang a cup of tea at random. Jian Wushuang nodded, then picked up the teacup and saw the tea leaves floating on it. The more it looked like Shuren's body. After serving it again, I still couldn't take it off. Then he said, "I have seen it before." He couldn't feel the strength of Shuren. So he lowered his seniority level and said again, "Senior, are you?" Since the opponent knows Wu Li, it is most likely Wu Li's whole card. There is a strong man in his body, and he has encountered this kind of routine several times. The most recent one is still King White in his body. And now, he actually has one in him. It's just that this score is very big. Never appeared in the Tower of Nine Tribulations. Also claimed to be a god. Jian Wushuang ignored the opponent directly. Because it's so boring. Seeing that Wu Li has such a special power, the guidance is also envious. I am afraid that the secret of entering Wanlu was brought up by this senior. So there is no need for him to introduce himself. The other party might be more familiar with him than Wu Li. I'm just a small person, you reading www. Akanshu. Com said that you don't know you, or just talk about you. You know the spirit of vegetation? Have you entered the willow sacred tree? The tree man opened the skylight and said bright words. Although Jian Wushuang was a little surprised at the directness of the other party, he also liked this way. He said the most unkind words flatly. So much the better. On the contrary, he still didn't think the other party was threatening. He replied honestly, "The junior has never entered Wanlu, but has entered a secret realm. This secret realm is very mysterious. It is not in the ancient moon time and space, but in the lower reaches of the distant river of time and space, in that secret realm. There is a forest of 10,000 treasures, and there is the spirit of plants and trees in it, but I haven't got it, just got it in an auction." He can still remember that time, the auction. Moreover, I heard that the spirit of plants and trees was bought by Huiqing, and finally came to Jiang Shang's hands. But Jiang Shang broke out all the way behind, surpassing Long Yi once. The body also contains acquired vitality. That's why I was deeply impressed by the spirit of vegetation. The lower reaches of the long river of time and space. The Shuren sipped the tea and said plainly, "That's right, Wanlu was caught from the end of the long river of time and space, and there may be some leftovers on the way downstream. In fact, to be precise, it is not downstream. It's China Petroleum. The forest of 10,000 treasures was originally in Moro time and space." Hearing the words of the tree man, Jian Wushuang thought of extinction again. The forest of 10,000 treasures, if it is related to 10,000 willows. Then extinction must know. It's just that he doesn't understand why exterminate has to stare at him. Wanlu also has the power of life, and is stronger than him. It is also the innate life force. Wouldn't it be better to swallow Wanlu? He suddenly thought of something. When he entered Gyue time and space, he was intercepted by a celestial lady. Chapter 5842. It must be the goddess of Gyue time and space. Extinction can't come in, so it will focus on him. The celestial lady is in the Nine Tribulations realm. Even if the extinction comes from the starry sky, it might be similar to the celestial lady in the peak period. Besides, Wanlu itself is strong enough. The master of the Eight Tribulations realm universe could not enter. When the extinction came, it might not be possible to beat Wanlu. Not to mention the extinction now. Let's talk about Jiang Shang. The opponent was exterminated. I am afraid that Wan Lu is being planned. It's a way out. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang changed his mouth and asked, Senior, will this spirit of vegetation replace the origin of the practitioner and transform into the origin of life? He wants to verify this matter. Jiang Shang's original spirit is the spirit of vegetation. How is this possible? After hearing his words, the tree man shook his head with a smile, but as soon as the words were spoken, he thought of one person and said, Guyu time and space, there is one person who has done it before, but that humans have fallen into gods and mortals cannot do it. Falling into a god? Jian Wushuang suddenly felt that the other party was drinking too much tea. Such things as falling into a can be said. But he still guessed, is that the goddess? Yes. The tree man nodded. Except for her, can no one really do it? The tree man shook his head firmly. No one can do it, I said. Who are you? Jian Wushuang didn't say the words. He asked again, then if someone did it, why? He can be sure that Jiang Shang has definitely achieved which step. Could it be that Jiang Shang is a goddess? Thinking of this, he suddenly stood up. It's really possible. It is really possible that Jiang Shang was the reincarnation of a goddess, or a Dharmakaya. Entering Guyu time and space, he thought for a long time. Such a powerful time and space. How could he open a space-time tunnel with his little ability? If the tunnel was so easy to open, then Guyu time and space would have unified the middle and lower reaches. And Fan Tianfeng didn't need to take people with him, so he flew back all the way. Wouldn't it be enough to let the flame gods open a space-time tunnel to Qishan Temple? Why bother? Even if you don't know the location of Qishan Temple, you can open a downstream location first, which doesn't save a long time. At first, he felt that the true spirit had used the treasure of time and space. But later he discovered that the treasure of time and space is not that simple. The little old man Jinling, he knows the time and space of a fart. It's an undead. Some guys who inherited some obsessions and memories of Qishan. How can it be possible to urge the treasure of time and space to open a space-time tunnel? I'm afraid there is a goddess lead among them. After they entered the Guyu time and space, in order to prevent the extinction from coming in, the goddess stopped them and checked them one by one. Then they were sent to some big families. In the beginning he entered Wu's house. In fact, an emperor entered the Tribulation Realm family. It's already a big chance. It's just that he, the emperor, is a bit against the sky. As for being so unlucky after rebirth, it is probably the meaning of a goddess, who made him offend Jiang Shang. And Fan Tianfeng's rebirth is perfect. Arrived under the command of the strongest in Gumu continent. Not everyone has this kind of luck. Hui Qing entered the ancient moon ruins. It also means a goddess. And Hui Qing didn't let him go to the ancient moon ruins, probably because the goddess were there. Presumably other people are doing well now. This time he completely figured it out. It's just that there followed another big net. If Jiang Shang is a goddess, what does the other party ask for? You don't know the little old man Tu Zhenling, right? Even if the Qi Temple had such two time and space treasures, it would not allow a 9 Tribulations realm power to reincarnate. There must be reasons behind this that he doesn't know. Perhaps it is related to extinction. Thinking of this, he completely collapsed. The tree man sipped the tea and slowly said, Do you think any goddess has fallen? Jian Wushuang was suddenly questioned. Frowning, don't know how to answer. Perhaps it has fallen. It may not fall. It's just alive with another French style. Qishan can lay out Qishan Temple. Not to mention the goddess. All free providence, some things, don't need to be serious. Shuren was very calm. Calmly let Jian Wushuang suspect that this guy is also a god. Weiss was very calm with him. No matter what hole cards he played, how amazing, even if the time and space treasures were used, Wes still just looked at him plainly. But there is one thing, the feeling that this tree man gives him is not like that of Weiss, which is completely invisible. There are still some gaps. Even if it is not a god, the opponent is definitely a powerhouse above the 7 Tribulations realm. It's just that I live in another identity now. He didn't directly question the identity of the other party, which was too rude. If you don't say it, then don't ask. He'll talk about it when Wu Li comes out. The two waited quietly for Wu Li in the cave to leave. This is the time of a day. Anyway, Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry, just to recover his strength. Wu Li has been here for about 100 years. It shouldn't take long. I just don't know how strong Wu Li will be after he leaves customs. It is not fear, but this cave mansion, I am afraid that there is a big secret. They are scrambling to get in. The people outside, don't know, have already been picked the peaches. Jian Wushuang didn't really matter. This time it was a blessing in disguise, and because of the anger in his heart, he forced him to perform a super eternal change. Increased the normal combat power by 50 times. And it's not perfect yet. If it were a complete super eternal change, it would definitely be stronger than it is now. It's just that he doesn't dare to ask for so much now. The super eternal changes now are enough. The supernatural power of 800,000 and the ultimate origin universe. Regardless of whether it is using divine power or origin, it is enough to suppress any 5 tribulations realm. Even the 6 tribulations realm can fight a battle. Now outside, there happens to be a 6 tribulations realm. King Damyu. 1 picks 3, pressing 3 5 tribulations realm to beat them. These 3 5 tribulations realm are not ordinary yet. The strongest whale shark king exposed the strongest strength. It was already comparable to Jian Wushuang, who had performed super eternal changes. The Lotus Demon Girl also has a supernatural power of more than 750,000. Shirsan is not much different. But it was these 3 5 tribulations realm powerhouses. Facing King Damyu, he still didn't have much ability to fight back. King Damyu at the pinnacle, 900,000 supernatural powers. Top 6 tribulation realm combat power. It's just that this battle has nothing to do with Jian Wushuang. He is ready to wait here. Wu Li retreats, not so fast. It may take hundreds of years. At that time, the outside world had already decided the winner. Jian Wushuang also took the opportunity to study the use of super eternal change. In his anger, he instantly improved. But now that he calmed down, he couldn't transform anymore. No matter what he does, he can no longer perform super eternal changes. Chapter 5843. This gave him a headache. Without super eternal changes, he had no way to meet the most ordinary 5 tribulations realm powerhouse. After pondering for a long time, I found out the reason why it can't be used. It is because he is not the Lord of the universe now. He had known this for a long time. It's just not clear why. After performing it once now, he has thoroughly seen the current situation. The Emperor's hymn is like a fruit falling from a tree. The Lord of the universe is like a fruit growing on a tree. The latter has roots. Performing super eternal changes is backed by the original universe. The former has no support. After understanding the reason, he began to find a way. Finally, let him find it out. As long as each time the super eternal change is performed, the time to gather the air for a stick of incense first. With Qi as the core, incarnate into the universe, and then perform super eternal changes, and succeed in one fell swoop. Thought of this. Jian Wushuang also started to experiment in the original universe. The first is to display the ancient changes. Then gather Qi. When the breath reached its peak, his eyes changed and he shouted angrily. Super eternal change. What? He clenched his fists, and a breath exploded from his body. The breath on the body began to change instantly. After a buzzing sound, he transformed into a super eternal change again. This time, he finally had time to feel this power in detail. Constantly swinging his fists, feeling the divine power surging in his body. The supernatural power of 800,000. Every fist wind is enough to kill the 4 tribulations realm powerhouse. This is a qualitative change in strength. A full 50 times the normal divine power. After getting acquainted with the supernatural power, he began to feel the origin. The power of the starry sky has also increased 50 times. Now in his starry sky catalog, whether it is the life of the first sword or the death of the second sword, can kill the 5 tribulations realm powerhouse. Even rival the 6 tribulations realm. Call. It's just that the sense of oppression is too strong. He can only hold on for a stick of incense. The first time it was cast, it was quite special, and he was able to hold on for that long. It now appears that it is the gathering of chi from a stick of incense, in exchange for the peak of a stick of incense. But something is better than nothing. When he reached the Lord of the Universe, he didn't use it at will. If you don't fully grasp it now, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to fully grasp it in the future. The eternal changes and the Starry Sky catalog are the pinnacle secrets he created based on the power of the starry sky. It is also the strongest secret method of his life. This is just the beginning. It will continue to be improved in the future. Super Eternal Change is like a star catalog. There are 9 swords in the Starry Sky catalog. 5 swords have been created so far. Mastered 2 swords. The difference is life and death. The 3rd sword, Reincarnation. The 4th sword, Time and Space. The 5th sword, Time and Space Reincarnation, according to his calculations. At least to reach the 5 tribulations realm, the universe will be consummated, life will be born, and life will go toward death. He was able to understand the sword of reincarnation. Reincarnation sword alone is so troublesome. Not to mention the power of reincarnation combined with the power of life and the power of death. That's harder than it is now. The subsequent time and space is much simpler. Just like life and death. Both swords can be used at the same level. But the subsequent time and space reincarnation sword, it needs him to reach the 7 tribulations realm, and even the 8 tribulations realm to be able to perform. These are the 5 swords he has clearly recognized. The 6th sword behind. He just felt the power of the future. Can't see through it all. Only clear, if it can cast the 6th sword. The 3 ancient beings in the 9 great spaces can all break their wrists. So it's called, Eternal Age can be enemy, as for the following 7, 8, and 9. He didn't even have the qualifications to watch these 3 swords. Don't even think about the master realm of the universe. It's still a super eternal change, and it's more rushing. The eternal change, the super eternal change. They are all rapidly increasing their combat power during normal times. This also made him more stringent about himself in normal times. The stronger the normal, the stronger after the super eternal change is performed. It's just that his current divine power really can't be improved. Otherwise, you have to eat a fat man in one go. Dongjun's bones are still on his body. When the Lord of the Universe crosses the 5 tribulations at once, he directly becomes the Lord of the Universe in the 5 tribulations realm. Then he swallowed Dongjun's entire skeleton. His normal divine power can break 1,000,000. At that time, not to mention the super eternal change. Even with the power of the beast god, he might be able to fight the 7 tribulations realm. It's just that he can't see through the bones of Dongjun. I don't know how much it can improve. Anyway, 1,000,000 is the foundation. He doesn't know the upper limit. I don't know if he can swallow it in one breath during the 5 tribulations realm. Even if he can't finish it, he will swallow it until he can't stand it. This is reflected in the benefits of a strong physical body. The original mountain monarch was simply his mentor. I also have my own persistence and hard work. Nothing was in vain. He made a new summary of his combat power and realm. At present, there is only one hurdle left to complete the universe. Once the universe is consummated, it's time to hit the tribulation realm. It's just that he has not been able to feel where his robbery is. I thought it would be in the sacred tree of Wanlu. But judging from the current situation, maybe the robbery is not there. But in the infinite world, the sooner you break through, the better for him. He doesn't care very much. He spent another day in the original world. He returned to his deity, stood up and stretched. I jumped my eyes and looked far, but I couldn't see the peaks. It's like a strong towering. A wild wave came from behind. Jian Wu was overjoyed and turned to look. The door of the cave was open, and Wu Li was standing outside the cave, making him a lot younger. And the aura on his body is 100 times stronger than before. Actually broke through to the 4 tribulations realm. And it is not the general 4 tribulations realm. Just breaking through, he reached the pinnacle of the Four Tribulations realm. Unexpectedly, you would be so fast. Shuren got up first and looked at Wu Li. Jian Wushuang opened his mouth, but the conversation turned around, congratulating him. Brother Wu Li, congratulations. Seeing that he was here, Wu Li was obviously a little surprised, but he didn't ask much. Instead, he went to the tree man. Snapped. Wu Li, who was energetic, knelt down immediately. The disciple has lived up to the expectations of the teacher and has already broken through the pinnacle of the Four Tribulations. Teacher? There was an imperceptible streamer in Jian Wushuang's eyes. It seems that he guessed right. This tree man has an unusual relationship with Wu Li, and the understanding of Wan Lu is beyond ordinary people. Although his knowledge of Wan Lu came from Wu Li alone. But for so long, I didn't hear about Wan Lu from other people. It can also be seen that there are very few people who know Wan Li's secrets. This tree man can be deposited with the spirit of vegetation. It is certainly not ordinary. The spirit of vegetation only recognizes the goddess. This requirement is tianzhe for others, and there is no possibility of surpassing it. Chapter 5844. Shuren able to deposit, the threshold is relatively lowered a lot. But even so, it is extremely difficult. Well, since you succeeded in your breakthrough, you won't be here to watch the wind. After the tree man finished speaking, he nodded to Jian Wushuang again and said, Little friends, see you in Wan Lu Shenmu. Jian Wushuang arched his hands and replied, Definitely. It seems that this tree person is very confident in both of them. I think they will be able to enter Wan Lu. The figure disappeared and entered Wu Li's body. Wu Li stood up and greeted with open arms. After gathering, he breathed a sigh of relief before looking at Jian Wushuang. Friend Wushuang, the fighting outside seems to be fierce. Did the rest of the people fall? Wu Li can now feel the fighting outside, and he is not surprised. And now he is here alone. It is indeed possible to think of the fate of other people. Except for Li Sheng, they should all have fallen. Jian Wushuang sighed. Jin Qin is also dead. Died behind Shijiao. Both died. The two younger generations of the Li family have long since fallen. He is left alone here. When Li Sheng took the opportunity to slip away, he might still be able to save his life. After all, it has been transformed into a monster race. Good death. Wu Li leaked a smile. He can't forget how embarrassed he was. Was chased by Sang Emo. Be chased and killed by countless wild beasts. Had it not been for the teacher to fight Yuan to save him, he would have fallen. Fortunately, his luck is good. Actually discovered this place. Coming here is not just to avoid Sang Emo, who is chasing and killing him. It also made him accidentally discover the treasure. At first, I thought it was a treasure containing the power of life based on breath alone, but when I arrived, I discovered that it turned out to be the root of Wan Lu. Wu Li didn't hide it, and said it directly. The roots of Wan Lu. Although it is only a small section, it also has infinite value. Wan Lu not only contains life, it also contains divine power and origin. It is simply a natural treasure. Just like the innate beast gods. Let's go in and talk. Wu Li took Jian Wushuang into the cave. It's better to see. Jian Wushuang watched it from close range, and even touched it with his hands, only to discover the special nature of this tree root. However, the vitality above is gone, and the roots of the tree have become somewhat withered. In the world, there is such a treasure, it is really unbelievable. Jian Wushuang's eyes were shocked. Wan Lu Shenmu. Worthy of being a sacred tree. Wu Li pointed to the root of the tree and said, When I broke through, I spent most of it, and I gave you the rest, Brother Wushuang. So generous? Jian Wushuang looked at Wu Li in surprise, unable to believe it on the surface. In fact, this is the case. The root of this tree can't be taken out. I have reached the peak. I'm not sure about the fifth calamity. The power in the root of the tree before me is not enough. It will be cheaper for others to stay here. Hearing Wu Li's explanation, Jian Wushuang nodded slowly. Then I'm welcome. The vitality and divine power in the root of this tree are gone. But there is still the source of power. What he lacks now is the power of origin. Once he swallowed the power of the source above this, he would be able to quickly reach the cosmic consummation. This time, although it was to pick up the tatters behind Wu Li, it was worth it. It is useless to give him divine power and life power. Although the treasure is good, it must be matched. The people of Shurgwa were fighting, and they almost died. The Whale Shark King calculated, and finally used the strongest whole card against him anxiously. King Mu wanted the praying mantis to catch the cicada and the oriole, but instead of coming in, he stayed out. He wanted it too. It almost fell. The murderous tyrant was also dead. Jin Chen also fell with Shurjiao. For this is the root of the tree. He got everything he wanted this time. The chance that the Whale Shark King gets is the root of the tree. The other party didn't take it away, and the explanation was clear. When I came here, I was looking for Wu Li. Now I found it too, and the other backhand gave him another big gift. For a while, he seemed to have one again. It's just that there are some empty places around. Brother Wushuang, hurry up and absorb it. I will protect the law outside for you. The power used by that barrier is the divine power in the root of the tree. Now the roots can no longer supplement the barrier outside. I am afraid it will not take long for those people. You can come in. After Wu Li explained, he left the cave. The barrier outside has already begun to loosen. Jian Wushuang didn't hesitate anymore, and immediately started directly. Swallow all the roots into the body. A huge source of power also contains life. It is completely consistent with his origin. The speed of absorption is also very fast. In the original starry sky, a light spot blooms completely. Origin universe, consummation. There are 10,000 black holes, and the links become countless lines that are extremely beautiful. At the same time, a new cosmic mystery was born together. One each for East, West, South and North. At the center of the universe is the Universe Sea. At this time, the Sea of Cosmos was constantly rising, and a sky engine fell into the sea. Another mystery landed. Since then, 10,000 black holes and the 5 cosmic mysteries have completely stabilized the universe. This is the perfection of the universe. It is still in its infancy. Only after reaching the tribulation realm can this perfect universe become real. Jian Wushuang looked at his incomparably wide universe. With mixed feelings in his heart, the previous lookup has now become a reality. Everything is too difficult. Step into your own universe, the peak of Tianking's secret realm. A wind-riding pavilion instantly condenses. In his universe, what he wants will appear. Standing in the Chengfeng pavilion, I feel the power of everything flooding my body. This feeling is so wonderful. A person's practice is like the evolution of a universe. In the future, this will be my world. A smile leaked from the corner of Jian Wushuang's mouth, and he felt the sense of belonging that he had never felt before. This is his future destination. For an instant, the Guantian chessboard appeared in the center of Chengfeng Pavilion, sitting cross-legged on the futon, observing the origin of the chess pieces. There is also this incense burner on the left-hand side, which exudes an intoxicating fragrance and makes people extremely comfortable. On the side table, there is also a small 9-story tower. Tower of 9 Tribulations. On the sky of Chengfeng Pavilion, his beasts and gods were suspended. 1,000 Tribulations sword was also placed aside at will. Almost all his treasures are here. Without any treasures on his body, Jian Wushuang himself was very relaxed, drinking tea very comfortably. Just when he relaxes, a figure flew out of the Tower of 9 Tribulations. Wes, who was holding the scepter, unexpectedly walked out and saw the incomparably shocking clouds around him, and praised, "What a solid origin of the universe! Standing here, you can look at the stars. In the starry sky, there are these 4 swords. Can you come out?" Jian Wushuang was taken aback, and quickly stood up. Wes covered his mouth and smiled, "I am a god, nothing can restrain me." This sentence made Jian Wushuang roll his eyes. God and ghost all day. It's ridiculous. Chapter 5845. Chapter 5850. The universe is complete. Does God still need to accept disciples? It's really comfortable, it'll be here in the future. Weiss waved his scepter and built a magnificent castle outside the windriding pavilion. Jian Wushuang was completely shocked this time. This is his universe, and there are people who can create things at will in his universe. The sense of security collapsed instantly. Wes stared at the castle, still feeling a little dissatisfied, and opened up some jungle and grass around the castle. There is still something missing. Weiss frowned and stretched out, thinking of something, and said with a smile, "There is still a lack of life." After talking and clicking out, various animals appeared. Perfect. Weiss raised his hands and was very satisfied with the home he built. Jian Wushuang was shocked from ear to ear. I looked at the wind pavilion I built, and then went to see the castle built by Weiss, who didn't know, thought Weiss was the master of the universe. Just as he gritted his teeth a little, something suddenly came to mind. The life that Weiss just said. With a word of truth, he can create life in his universe. This is indeed something God can do, although the other person who has always felt that the other party is full of gods, it is very unreliable. But the other party can do it. In his universe, he should also be a god. Can also create life. He has the power of life. Maybe not right now, but once the universe is completely solidified, I am afraid it will be able to create life. Except for the special life born of everything in the universe. He can also create other ethnic groups. The creation of ethnic groups is related to one's own divine body. The stronger the divine body, the stronger the race created. Some ethnic groups are born with 10,000 supernatural powers. Or like the strongest race in the starry sky, giant race. Earth is the lord of the universe. The human race has to survive the 3 tribulations before it can master the universe. Giant gods are born with it. Creator. Jian Wushuang's eyes condensed. Look at Weiss. Perhaps there is a in the starry sky. And it is their creator. Created the existence of the starry sky. What Weiss did just now, maybe just to let him know that there are some outsiders and there are heavens and heavens. By a window of the castle, Wes glanced at Jian Wushuang, with a smile leaking out of his face. Cultivation, if it is endless, then there must be someone who is creating an endless existence. Jian Wushuang carried the Wanjijian on his back and left Chengfeng Pavilion. The Guantian chessboard and the Tower of 9 Tribulations are not available now. There is no need for the beasts to wear them all the time, they will come when they are needed. As for the generals on the Guantian chessboard, the same is true. This comfort zone was broken by Weiss. He is now going out to face reality. Inside the cave, the roots of the tree disappeared completely. All were absorbed by him and turned into the source. He didn't think he absorbed more than Wu Li. The root of Wanlu Shenmu contained too much energy. He absorbs less than 1/10,000th. Wu Li probably didn't absorb much. Which tree person took the big head? The identity of the other party is not simple. It's just that Wu Li never opened his mouth to explain, and he couldn't ask too much. After walking out of the cave, he saw the enchantment that was riddled with holes. Brother Wushuang, you are quite fast. Wu Li was a little surprised, but he didn't expect him to leave the customs so quickly. There is still a lot of power in the root of the tree, even if it is for him to absorb it, it will take several years. Jian Wushuang unexpectedly managed everything in just 2 days. It's just luck, and this place is not a place to practice, let's get out now. Wu Li nodded, good too. Cut off the power of the enchantment at will, and the enchantment without divine power transmission is a consumable barrier. It seems that some means are needed. Wushuang has just left the customs, so let me come. Wu Li's tone was very confident. He's also a master of kendo. With one hand held, a 3-foot wooden sword appeared. Wan Xiang. His figure flashed, and when he reached the top of the barrier, he cut across the barrier with a sword, directly cutting the barrier out of a hole. The corners of Jian Wushuang's eyes throbbed. The sword just now had 650,000. He didn't think this was Wu Li's full strength. I'm afraid there are still some hidden things. With just such a sword, it was comparable to his peak state of 5 times the power of the beast god. If you don't use the super eternal change, Wu Li is now enough to hang him. And if you want to use the super eternal change, you have to gather energy in advance, and there is also a time limit. The real singles fight, there is no chance to gather energy. Go! Wu Li turned his head and nodded at him, indicating that he could go out. Jian Wushuang didn't think much about it, his figure flashed, and he followed him. In an instant, the two of them went outside the barrier. 2 days were enough for King Taemu and others to decide the winner. I'm afraid the victorious side is waiting for them now. Maybe it's the injured shield walking. But after he came out, he felt 3 breaths of divine power imbalance. What? Jian Wushuang opened his eyes wide, and saw that there were still 3 people alive in Fudi, and they were still fighting each other. He is also familiar with these 3 people. King Taemu. Special beings in the 6 tribulations realm. Whale Shark King. In the 5 tribulations realm, is a powerful man with 800,000 supernatural powers and extremely deep city mansion and strength. Shursan. Shur State is a famous 5 tribulation realm powerhouse. By the time the other 5 tribulations realm powerhouse in Shurgua, Jinglian Demon Girl had disappeared. High probability has fallen. Unlike a tree man, Wu Li could steal the barrier and observe the outside. I don't understand these people. Jian Wushuang carefully explained it, and Wu Li was shocked. The current Wu Li is indeed very powerful, with a peak combat power of 700,000, which should be there. But when I heard 6 tribulations realm, I was still frightened. Don't worry, you see that they are all seriously injured now. No matter who we help, we can all get back. Jian Wushuang said casually. Wu Li was taken aback for a moment, and the sound transmission said, Brother Wushuang, could it be that you have hatred with those wild beasts? If so, it is better to kill these 2 wild beasts with the Stone Country powerhouse. No, that toad doesn't have any grudges with me, but Shur-san has a big grudge with me. Jian Wushuang said out loud without a sound transmission. At this time, King Taemu also saw both of them. Hu Biao. Jian Wushuang. The 2 names are the same person. Whale Shark King and Shur-san were happy to see Jian Wushuang, and also saw a strong stranger. Jian Wushuang said in surprise, I have become a human body, and I can still recognize me. Seeing him appear, the 3 of them walked away. The current situation is 2-1. It was supposed to be the Whale Shark and the Stone King of 3 battles. The result is now the King of Taemu and Shur-san fighting Whale Sharks. It seems that a lot of things have happened here in these 2 days. But now the remaining divine power of the 3 is less than 700,000. Wu Li can clean up all these people alone. End of this chapter. Chapter 5846. Jian Wushuang, you are still alive, that's great. Shur-san looked overjoyed and then said, It's better to join forces and kill 2 beasts to avenge the rest. King Taemu was not surprised by Shur-san's rebellion at all. In these 2 days, Shur-san had become an enemy of almost everyone. Has been sluggish. Jinglian Demon Girl was killed by him. The Whale Shark King was shocked and said coldly, Things have reached this point, you are really stupid. Oh. Jian Wushuang slowly descended and said, Whale Shark King, it seems that you are ready to fall. Now he doesn't need to cooperate with anyone, he can kill all 3 of them. Anyway, here is the Jedi Tian Tong, no one has noticed. But this is not interesting. The Whale Shark King's complexion sank. If Jian Wushuang hadn't suddenly appeared, he was fully capable of pitting the Dead Stone 3 before dealing with the Taemu King. But now Jian Wushuang's appearance has disrupted his plan. Now he really has reached a dead end. Compared to him, King Taemu and Shur-san were seriously injured, and there was nothing to do. Since I have given up my mind, I will give you a way to survive. Jian Wushuang pointed his finger at Shur-san. Shur-san was taken aback, and his expression was joyful again, and he said, Jian Wushuang, I knew that you would do justice to the human race. Before he could finish speaking, Jian Wushuang's divine powers suddenly broke out. Now I give you a chance. Whoever kills Shur-san first will be eligible to go out alive. Jian Wushuang pointed at Shur-san who fell on the ground. He could completely kill Sher San himself, but he couldn't understand his hatred in this way. Blame this bastard. Otherwise, it would be impossible for so many people to die. How could he let him go when he acquiesced in Sher Tian's murder? Wu Li stood by without intervening. He could see that this stone country powerhouse must have offended Jian Wushuang, otherwise it would not be so miserable. The Whale Shark King and the Tamu King only paused for a while before rushing to take action. Only one can live. When the Whale Shark King heard these words, he didn't think about attacking Sher San, but stared at King Tamu. And King Tamu rushed towards Sher San stupidly. Knowing that this time was over, Sher San yelled at Jian Wushuang in madness, and the divine body exploded with a strong light and chose to blow himself. Even if he died, he didn't want to be killed by the Whale Shark King and the Tamu King. It is not because of the pride of human identity. I simply don't want anyone to live. King Tamu was the nearest, and he was already seriously injured. With this shock, his divine power fell again, and it was already less than 600,000. Just after he blocked the shock, when he wanted to turn his head and ask Jian Wushuang how to calculate this, he didn't expect the Whale Shark King to have arrived behind him. As soon as he found the Whale Shark King, his chest had collapsed. You! King Tamu was furious. When he wanted to fight back, he found that he couldn't have the power at all. King Whale Shark drew his fist, jumped up and made a knife with one hand. A slippery cut directly smashed the huge head of King Tamu. A jet of dark green liquid spurted out, and the king of the rivers of the Roman River, King Tamu, completely fell. And the Whale Shark King also fell down with exhaustion. He just burned his supernatural power for the last time. Now it has lost any combat power. He fell to the ground, squinting at Jian Wushuang, but there was no joy, but sadly said, I know, you will not let me go, but I have won. The King Tamu is dead, I have won. You are wrong, I didn't intend to embarrass you at first, but I promised, the wild beasts outside will not agree. Jian Wushuang sneered. The city of Whale Shark King is unfathomable. If the opponent is a human race, they must not stay. But the other party is a desolate beast, and it is also a desolate beast in the infinite world. That's another matter. You may never get out in your life. Unless you reach the Seven Tribulations realm, take refuge in the Ancient Wood sect, become a mount for some top powerhouses, or become a thug, to be able to go to the outside world. But the Seven Tribulations realm is not so easy. I am afraid that in the current infinite world, there is no Seven Tribulations realm at all. Wait for me. Jian Wushuang ignored the Whale Shark King who fell on the ground, but asked Wu Li to wait for him. He took out an incense burner from the mustard seeds, went to the center of the blessed land, and lit 3 incense sticks. It's a simple memorial service. It's just that you don't have paper money with you, so serious people won't carry it with them. Fortunately, there are some talismans and some pill squares or formations. These things are of no use to them. But in the outside world, they are all worth tens of millions of universe crystals. Not to mention the Emperor, the weakness of the robbery will be robbed. Compared with Hunyuan stone, it is the Lord of the universe that can condense. Universe crystals are not the same. Almost everyone can condense, and they all need it. But these treasure maps all let Jian Wushuang burn as paper money. Wu Li stood aside, feeling a little distressed. It may be that the strength has increased too fast, and he has not yet adapted to the aura of the pinnacle powerhouse of the 4 Tribulations realm. In the 4th Tribulation realm, you need the Hunyuan stone, otherwise the 5th Tribulation, what to do? Rest in peace. Jian Wushuang sighed, raised his head and looked at the hole in the blessed land, gathering qi with one hand to directly expand the gap. Although there is no vitality here, it is still a good place. With one blow, he broke the barrier here and left with Wu Li. Only the exhausted Whale Shark King was left. However, there are many wild beasts in the outside world. After seeing the movement of this place, they began to approach. The Whale Shark King got up with difficulty, his throat hoarse, and said, I must not die. But in the face of those brave beasts in the 3 Tribulations realm that had entered the blessed land, they did not have the power to fight back. Under the siege of countless wild beasts, the eyes of the Whale Shark King dimmed. To death, he did not blew up and gave up. Above the Roman River, Jian Wushuang and Wu Li broke through the water and came to the sky. At this time, the strong outsiders also noticed the two. All the Shirgua team disappeared, shocking everyone. No one knows where Shirgua's team has gone. The Guma sect privately dispatched a master of the universe from the Six Tribulations realm, secretly traveled to the infinite world, entered the mountains at the bottom of the Roman River, and found the blessed land. But where has been occupied by countless wild beasts, is so noisy, there is no way to go back in time. The disappearance of the Stone Kingdom team has also become a legend. At this time, many teams have already followed the river or the mountains to the inner periphery of the infinite world. Speaking of it, the inner periphery is much safer than the outer periphery. The inner circle is a barren continent. There are not many relics, so naturally there are no restrictions. The safer the place, the more wild beasts. Just like the relatively safe Roman bottom, there is a powerhouse in the Six Tribulations realm. Any team encountered may be destroyed. Just like Shirgua, unfortunate enough to destroy the team. End of this chapter. Chapter 58-47. The positions of Jian Wushuang and Wu Li have fallen far behind. Because the strength of the two is not weak, along the Roman River all the way forward, they did not encounter much danger. When they first came out, they received a summons from the Empress. In Fudi, the two did not receive the summons, and only found out when they came out. The Empress has reached the inner circle. The two of them can also be regarded as having a goal, and they are going all the way, preparing to reach the inner wall to reconcile with the female emperor. After a brief message, Jian Wushuang slightly deleted the sound that happened this time, and then sent it to the Empress. And the Empress just replied with a did not say much. Jian Wushuang and Wu Li cursed together. The daughter is dead, she didn't express her emotions at all, so her heart is so cruel. Following such a person, there is no future. Fortunately, the second plan is Wanlu. It is also a cooperative relationship with the Empress. To help each other achieve the position of a saint, the two of them entered Wanlu. It doesn't matter anymore. Let's talk about it at the inner wall first. Jian Wushuang's origin wrapped Wu Li and directly used the three shocks to travel through the universe quickly. The speed was so fast that Wu Li was speechless, and even the Five Tribulations realm could not catch up with them at this speed. There was no words and no interference along the way. In just 10 days, the two reached the inner continent. Dragon God Continent. Jian Wushuang saw the introduction on the token and laughed, and guessed, could this ancient land have a real dragon in the Tribulation realm? It shouldn't be possible. Wu Li shook his head and said, a universe-level real dragon is similar to a beast god. Once it appears, it will be captured by the Ancient Wood sect. The whole body is a treasure, and the Ancient Wood sect will not let it go. The two fell on the ground, feeling the gravity of the ground. This place is indeed extraordinary. Wild and ancient land. Even gravity is 100 times that of the outside world. The ordinary is too easy to survive. Because they can't reproduce, ordinary ethnic groups have just been born, and they are mortals, so they can withstand this kind of gravity. The races that can thrive here are probably not ordinary. The two of them no longer dared to fly unscrupulously at high altitudes, but flew close to the ground. Very slow. After just walking for 2 days, I encountered a special rock-like life at the level of the Five Tribulations realm. Fortunately, there was no hostility towards them, just a glance, and then dragged Xiangshan away. There are no wonders in the wild world. It was something they didn't see in the outside world. A single flower can destroy a tribe of wild beasts. After blooming, it grows rapidly. It became ordinary. I'm afraid it is attracting the next ethnic group. This place is extremely comfortable and suitable for reproduction. Out of curiosity, Jian Wushuang and Wu Li told them to pick the flowers. As a result, a flower demon of the Five Tribulations realm level was brought out. As soon as he discovered the other party's breath, he pulled Wu Li to 3 shock the universe, and quickly left Witch Treasure Land. After escaping, cold sweat broke out from behind. The Five Tribulations realm powerhouse was by their side, and they didn't find it in a daze. This is too scary. How far is your majesty from here? Wu Li was already a little scared. Although the divine power has increased to more than 600,000, the peak can burst out of 700,000 divine power. But facing the Five Tribulations realm, it was still very difficult. Jian Wushuang took out the token, and according to the simple map passed to them by the Empress, there was still a year away from the other party, if he used the Three Shocking Universe. It takes almost a month to find the rough position of the Empress. However, if you keep playing the Three Shock Universe, it will attract the attention of many wild beasts. Wild and ancient land, countless wild beasts. There are 6 calamities. If it caught the attention of the Six Tribulations realm, it would be over. The origin used by the Three Shock Universe is extremely powerful. At that time, he will be considered a strong person of the same level. The Six Tribulations realm desolate beast definitely did not want the human race Six Tribulations realm powerhouse to appear in its own territory. It will definitely block. Once found, there is no way to escape. It was in the Luoman River because Jian Wushuang knew that the only Six Tribulations realm powerhouse had fallen. That's why I dared to use the Three Shocks of the universe all the time. He didn't dare to play like this in Dragon God Continent. Unless it is in danger. Fly slowly, it's only a year, we will be safe if we meet with your majesty. Jian Wushuang comforted. But as soon as he finished speaking, he felt a familiar breath. That breath seems to be Li Sheng. He looked happy, but he didn't expect Li Sheng to be alive. And it's very close to his location. If it's not troublesome, you can bring the other party. After telling Wu Li of this matter, Wu Li naturally did not object. One more person, one more hope. If the other party receives a special task, it will make a lot of money. The two did not hesitate and directly searched for the past according to the aura of cause and effect. But just as Jian Wushuang got closer and closer, he felt an insurmountable breath. Scared, he stopped directly. Wu Li was stunned when he saw it and then stopped. He didn't understand it at first, but the tree in his body reminded him. What a terrifying breath. Jian Wushuang also nodded and said, that breath is definitely not something we can provoke. There are still many strong men around that breath. There are at least 3 strong men in the Five Tribulations realm, the masters of the terrifying breath, the least. It's the Six Tribulations realm, even more terrifying than King Tamus' breath. But Li Sheng was at the core of his breath. How dare they go again? We are definitely not rivals, but Li Sheng's breath has always been very stable. He should be in the same group as the master of the terrifying breath. It seems that he has found a great backer. Now Li Sheng has transformed into a desolate beast, naturally walking with the desolate beast. Maybe they shouldn't show up. The two constricted their auras. To be on the safe side, Jian Wushuang wrapped his own aura outside Wu Li's body, and then the aura was restrained, and the two of them isolated from the exploration of the power of mind. Now that his universe is complete, he can wrap the breath of other people as well. But at most 2 people. Wu Li was very surprised by this. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to have such a trick. Plus speed. It is a double life-saving whole card. No wonder an emperor can be so powerful. I couldn't help sighing from the bottom of my heart, even Witch Tree Man had a high evaluation of Jian Wushuang. Be careful, when we get away, we will leave at full speed. Jian Wushuang reminded them, for fear that the horrible aura would notice them. Jian Wushuang didn't know it was that the master of that terrifying aura had already noticed both of them. Just deal with it lazily. On an island in the middle of a lake far away from them. Yu reading www. A unilateral massacre is taking place. And one of the executioners was Li Sheng. Once a strong human race. The patriarch of the Li family of Yu Kingdom is now the minion of the desolate beast. But the slaughter was also a desolate beast. This left Li Cheng without any burden. Get started, fast and steady. I'll say it again, hand over that red ball, or you'll have to die. Li Sheng had a fierce face, and grabbed the humanoid beast he defeated under his feet. On the small island in the middle of the lake, There was originally a pollen tribe. Now they were killed 7 or 88. End of this chapter. Chapter 58-48. The Palunga tribe is the first tribe on the Dragon God continent. The number is extremely large, all over the Dragon God continent. The strength is also extremely tyrannical. The family is divided into 2 types. They are combat and wisdom. The combat type is similar to the special life, and even stronger than the special life. This kind of talent and background is enough to outdo the Dragon God continent. Wisdom is even more against the sky. Each is a master at the side. Special occupations such as puppets, alchemy, forging, and formation mage are all proficient. But now the powerful Balunga tribe here has been slaughtered unilaterally. Even the fighting-type Balunga clan powerhouses are far from their opponents. In this tribe, there was originally a 5 Tribulations realm wave wheel strengthener sitting in town. But it was besieged to death by 3 desolate beasts from the 5 Tribulations realm. The remaining clansmen are far worse in strength. Li Xing cleaned up most of it by himself. The ground is full of the bodies of Palunga people. The skin is uniform green, with tentacles on the human forehead. The type is peculiar. It is the descendant of the so-called dragon god. This rumor is based on the transformation of the Balungia clan strongmen. People of the Balunga tribe can transform into a dragon when they are emperors, but they can't transform again after reaching the Tribulation realm. According to the strong man of the Ancient Wood School, it is because the power of the bloodline cannot bear it. Only the Balungia tribe with pure blood power can become a dragon in the Tribulation realm. Transform into a real dragon powerhouse. But in the entire Dragon God continent, only the ancient dragon god had done it. And this dragon has fallen. The strong human race outside generally believes that this dragon was killed by the Gumu sect. However, the powerhouse of the Dragon God continent thought that the dragon god had not been defeated by the human race. Because the dragon at the beginning had a half-step battle power in the 8 Tribulation realm. It is invincible in the entire infinite world. Visitors from the outside world have been repelled several times. Both sides have their own rhetoric. No one knows whether it is true or not. This kind of thing is also difficult to verify. It was already regarded as a legend, but now there are strong ones who insist on using this horn. A buzzing sound sounded. Li Xing quickly dropped which Balunga tribe, turned his head and respectfully said, "Master Gula, please give me some time, I will let them speak." "Oh, it seems that you have a lot of patience." Gula is extremely thin, with threaded horns on both sides of his head, purple lips, wagging tail, sitting on the floating throne, extremely indifferent. But the aura on his body is terrifying. Let everyone surrender to him. Even the 3-5 Tribulations realm subordinates stood honestly behind them, like servants. If Jian Wushuang saw Gula's face, he would definitely be taken aback. Gula's appearance is exactly the same as the ancient temple that Jian Wushuang defeated in the Tomb Mountain. This means that Gula is a frozen demon clan. At first, it only dominated the ethnic group of an era in Morwa time and space. But it appeared here. And the current Gula, without transforming, has 1 million divine power. The peak level of the 6 Tribulations realm. The threshold of the 7 Tribulation realm. The entire Dragon God continent, even looking at the entire infinite world, is probably the strongest existence. The frozen demon race can be transformed. If it were transformed, the combat power would probably reach the 7 Tribulations realm level. This kind of terrifying combat power, if the human race team is added together, is not enough to give the opponent a head. When Li Xing came out from the bottom of the Roman River, he ran towards the shore. Feeling like a desolate beast, he can walk freely on the shore. Unexpectedly, he strayed into a ban. I found a ruin by accident and swept all the treasures inside, but found that I couldn't leave. When he was tangled, he encountered a teleportation formation and teleported to this place. I just met Gula. Although his divine power passed through that ruin, it had reached 600,000, but this bit of divine power couldn't even move in front of Gula. Immediately, he chose to take refuge in each other. To verify the fall of the dragon god, Gula has been searching for the Dragon Ball, the inheritance treasure of the Barunga tribe. Now Gula has got two. In the Dragon God continent, there are 9 core tribes in Balunga. In other words, there are 9 Dragon Balls. As long as the 9 dragon are collected, Gula will be able to find the secret of the fall of the Dragon God. Of course, the secret is just a product of curiosity. The real reason is the remains of the Dragon God. The Dragon God had searched the treasures of the entire infinite world. Real dragon, happy. More Shibao. I like to collect treasures most. It is these treasures that Gula is looking for. For him, there is no threat to the infinite world. Only foreign visitors. Those strong human races are his threat. As long as he gets the treasures of the Dragon God, he can rely on those treasures to increase his divine power again and escape from the infinite world. No longer bound by the human race. He peeped into the prosperity of the outside world from the minds of those strong human races. Where is the place for the strong to survive? There are indeed many strong aliens in Gumu continent. However, these alien powerhouses are not called wild beasts in the outside world. Just like the Sirius tribe. Sirius. After all, it is also a barren beast. But it's because of the word Sirius and Sirius Secret Realm. Transformed into a local powerhouse in Gumu continent. Like the human race, they can all go to the ancient wood school to practice. But most of the other wild beasts are still struggling in some wild worlds. Most of those wild worlds were suppressed by the Gumu school. The infinite world is one of them. It's just closer to Wanlu Shinmu. Of course, the overall strength is much stronger than those of ordinary wild continents. The other wild beasts don't know this. Even Li Xing didn't know. Gula looked for the secrets of these Dragon Balls. You invaders, I, the strong man of the Balunga tribe, will never let you go. An old man of the Balunga tribe desperately rushed to Gula, preparing to blow himself up and perish. It is a pity that the strength of this old man is too bad, only 500,000 supernatural powers. Li Xing slammed and stood in front of Gula. He directly sealed the old man with his hands, and there was no way he could blow himself up. Forget it, if you don't say anything, then kill them all and find them yourself. Gula yawned, very boring, sitting on the throne, dragging his chin with one hand, and sending off the men behind him, ready to go. Before, kill all the Balungia tribe. Seeing this, Li Xing didn't hesitate, and immediately killed which of the sealed Balungia elders, strode towards the tribe, and began to kill the remaining Balungia people. When passing by an oval stone house, I found a child of the Palunga tribe, with a small stature and a smooth head. Almost forgot, you still have smart clansmen. Li Xing sneered and walked into the stone house. When he went in and saw a red ball hanging from the room, he was overjoyed, and he couldn't take care of the intelligent boy of the Palunga tribe, so he was about to rush out and call for people. Chapter 5849. As he turned around, 2 figures directly stopped Li Xing. You! Li Xing almost called out when he saw the 2 figures. One of the figures carrying a divine sword kicked Li Xing in the face. Li Xing's figure broke through the stone house and was directly abandoned. Upon seeing this, Gula's men hurriedly wrapped up here. It should be this little ball for the mission. He grabbed the ball floating in the air, and the person looked overjoyed. When I wanted to put this small ball into the mustard seeds, but found that it could not be received in the mustard seeds anyway. Just kicked Li Xing away. The young man carrying the divine sword leaked his face through the broken hole in the stone house. It was Jian Wushuang. Needless to say, another one is Wu Li. Both of them were planning to leave, but they received a special mission. This task is extremely special, not only a group task, but also 7 stars beyond the rules. Mission objective: collect 9 inheritance dragon of the Palunga tribe. It seemed simple, but after a little understanding of the Balunga tribe, the 2 were stunned. The Balunga tribe has several powerful people in the 6 tribulations realm. It is impossible to grab it. According to the 2 of them, it is to find the Empress first, and then discuss the long-term plan. But when they felt the aura of Li Xing exploded, they also felt the aura of the Balunga clan. So I planned to come and have a look. The result happened to be the massacre of these people. The two of them also got bolder and took advantage of the chaos to hide their breath and mixed into the tribe. Want to fish in troubled waters? Unexpectedly, the two of them were really found. Thanks to Li Xing's guidance. Following the other party into this stone house, I was planning to ask Li Xing what's going on here. As a result, Dragon Ball was discovered. Those people outside, they don't know which power they belong to. But it's definitely not a team from outside. But also looking for Dragon Ball. They couldn't manage that much, so they immediately started to deal with Li Xing. There are 9 dragon in total. Now that they get one, they can basically lie flat. As long as you find the Empress and give this Dragon Ball to the Empress, there will be nothing for them. So many teams. They get one even if they succeeded. Since it's a group task, you can't think about collecting 9 by yourself. However, they have to escape here first. That terrifying strong man is still outside. If you are found, you can't escape happiness. Let me try. Jian Wushuang hurriedly went over and tried to bring Dragon Ball into the source, but he couldn't do it. At this time, he thought of outside the tribe. Beside the horrible atmosphere, there was a guy covered with spikes, holding 2 identical little balls. It should be impossible to store, so I can only hold it. Jian Wushuang was holding the Dragon Ball in one hand, so he couldn't control that much, so he could only hold it first. It doesn't matter, let's go now. Wu Ligang wanted to follow Jian Wushuang, and another reminder came from his body, making him stare at the Belungia child. Take him with you too, blame poor. Hearing this sentence, Jian Wushuang almost cursed. At this time, I can't protect myself anymore, and I have to take care of an alien child. But then I thought about it, Wu Li is not the kind of benevolence of women, it must be because of some kind of relationship. Immediately, he wrapped the Belunga clan's child with his divine power, and then broke the ground, and there was a channel all the way down. This passage connects the lake that is out of sight. After entering the water, Jian Wushuang's speed began to increase. He also happened to take 2 people to hide their breath, so that they would not be discovered by outsiders. I wanted to take Li Xing away. It can be seen that the other party is doing well, and maybe it is more suitable to keep him by the side of the horrible powerhouse. There are 2 dragon in the opponent's hand. Can't pay attention. It's also considered as an undercover agent for them. Inside the tribe on the island, Li Xing was kicked away and rushed back like crazy. As a result, no one was seen, and even Belungia's child disappeared. Look at the hole in the ground again. He cursed from the bottom of his heart, "Damn Jian Wushuang, you didn't even take me." Even though there was a token there, I wanted to transmit the sound to Jian Wushuang. When he took out the token, he was shocked. The 2 messages above. The first, special group mission, 7 stars. Find the dragon. The second is the sound transmission from Jian Wushuang. Where to stay, don't go there. At this moment he understood everything. I understood why Jian Wushuang kicked him and why he didn't take him away. This is for him to be careful. Thanks to Jian Wushuang's idea, let him be the chief of the first family in addition to the royal family. The key is not good yet, but he still had to do it. Feeling the breath rushing from outside, he quickly flattened the hole and collected all tokens. Then he destroyed the entire stone house. Boom! The stone house below was turned into ruins, and he was already in the air, and at the same time cursed, "Damn Belungia, dare to attack me." This wave of performance caused many of Gyula's men who surrounded him to retreat. Brother Li Xing, stop getting angry, come and help me quickly. Called for help from a distance. Li Sheng's complexion eased and he smiled, "Look at me." Boom! The depths of the lake that wraps the island. Jian Wushuang had already brought Wu Li and the Belunga children to the edge of the lake. He emerged from the water, turned and looked behind him, black smoke billowing. The Belunga tribe there was completely destroyed. When Pelunga's child saw it, tears were in his eyes. He is a wise Pelunga, knowing that it is useless to say anything now. Jian Wushuang just took a look, then said, "Let's go, find a safe place first. Take 2 people and fly close to the ground." After walking for a long time, he directly used the 3-shock universe, quickly moved hundreds of times, and stopped in a canyon. A lot of desolate beasts of the Tribulation Realm level have gathered here. It is a medium-sized tribe. However, the strongest is only the 4 Tribulations realm. With the help of this tribe's cover, they reached the depths of the canyon. After opening a cave, Jian Wushuang led them into the cave. Let's break the meeting. It's not tiring to hurry. But that kind of cautious feeling made Jian Wushuang physically and mentally exhausted. Wu Li took the Dragon Ball from him and began to study. The little boy of the Palunga clan next to him didn't say a word. Jian Wushuang sat on the rock casually, regaining some power of thought. Also looked at Dragon Ball. How about it? I can see that there is no problem. He hasn't checked this Dragon Ball closely. It's just that 3 6-pointed stars are engraved on this Dragon Clan. There is no other special place. Wu Li hugged and studied for a long time, and finally gave up. No, I can't see anything. Chapter 5850? He said that he put the Dragon Ball on the ground and sat down on it. The children of the Balunga tribe couldn't help it anymore. They just kicked up and kicked the Dragon Ball under Wu Li's ass. Wu Li didn't pay attention and sat directly on the ground. Seeing this scene, Jian Wushuang almost laughed. A child of the Palunga tribe quickly went to pick up the Dragon Ball that had gone away. Jian Wushuang didn't panic at all. He just looked at the Balunga children and picked up the Dragon Ball. This is the treasure of our clan's heritage. Although you saved me, you can't desecrate my clan's holy artifacts. The child of the Balunga clan carefully held the Dragon Ball and looked at Jian Wushuang. He is extremely smart, knowing that Jian Wushuang is the strongest person. He also ignored Wu Li. Jian Wushuang nodded and took the initiative to apologize. Sorry, I apologize for my friends sincerely like you. I don't blame you, but I also want to thank you for saving me. Wu Li stood up from the ground at this time, patted the ashes on his butt, looked at the Balunga children, lowered his head and smiled. Little baby, what's your name? Dan Bao. Feeling the aura of wisdom in the other party, Jian Wushuang felt that this child could become a big thing in the future. Facing them too, there is no timidity at all. The answer was constant, and the tribe did not die, but collapsed. There is wisdom in his eyes. Dan Bao, I ask you, why did those people slaughter your tribe? Jian Wushuang asked. Dan Bao lowered his head this time. After all, he was still a child. Tears fell from the corners of his eyes when he thought of all his tribe members falling. They are here to the treasure of our clan, this Dragon Ball. After saying this, he raised his head to look at Jian Wushuang and asked, Are you aliens from heaven? Wu Li was surprised when he heard this and asked quickly, How do you know that we are not local? Because, in the memory of our race, there is information about your human race. Dan Bao's answer caused Jian Wushuang to frown. It seems to be similar to the rumors. Since you know it, we don't hide it from you. This time we save you because of this Dragon Ball. We need to borrow him for a period of time. Jian Wushuang did not choose to conceal it. This kid is extremely clever and cannot be fooled. After Dan Bao heard it, he handed the Dragon Ball over very obediently and said, I know what you are going to do, but please don't hurt Belungerin. I promise you. Jian Wushuang took the Dragon Ball and agreed. He doesn't need to fight for Dragon Ball anymore, because one is enough. The rest has nothing to do with him. No matter how much he gets, it is for the Empress. In the end, the Empress abandoned them, and now he and Wu Li can still think of the Empress, which is interesting enough. I must have owed too much to the other party in my previous life, otherwise it is impossible to be her son-in-law. This Dragon Ball is a bargaining chip. There are 9 in total. 1 is enough. The next step is to find the Empress. At first, the other party loved to answer. He and Wu Li had just arrived in the Dragon God continent, and the female emperor just gave them a position. I ignored them both. Now as soon as I heard that I got the Dragon Ball, I told them directly and waited in place. In one day, the Empress can reach here. This also made Jian Wushuang surprised at the opponent's speed. He tried his best for a month. The Empress only needs 1 day. 6 Tribulation Realm. Jian Wushuang thought of something. In 100 years, what task can take such a long time? Wu Li has survived 100 years. Then the Empress may also break through. It is probably the Six Tribulations realm now. That's why the speed is so fast. Thinking of this, he breathed a sigh of relief. If the Empress really breaks through, then this time it will really be stable. The Lord of the Universe in the Six Tribulations realm. I am afraid that the supernatural power is almost 1 million. This is not going sideways. Wu Li's eyes lit up when he heard his speculation. Finally, you don't have to cringe anymore. The two of them just relaxed, but they felt a strong breath coming from a distance. There was fear in Jian Wushuang's eyes, and he reminded, "No, who is the strong terrorist?" Divine power instantly wrapped Wu Li and Dan Bao. He also held his breath. Wu Li was careful about the rumors. Is that fool Li Sheng betrayed us? It should not be. Jian Wushuang reduced his thoughts, and couldn't feel the breath either. But he felt unlikely. There is no need for Li Sheng to betray him. It's no good to betray him. On the contrary, if you cooperate with him, the benefits are huge. That breath goes very slowly. It's not like chasing them down. Instead, it seems to be on the way. A powerful aura passed over them. Jian Wushuang was relieved. That person is too horrible. Is it a powerhouse of the Seven Tribulations realm? Wu Li panted hard, with an incredulous expression on his face. At this time, Dan Bao took out a crystal ball and said, "You should be him." Jian Wushuang and Wu Li both looked at the crystal ball. Is this Nima? Seeing that familiar face, Jian Wushuang thought he had traveled back to Qi Temple. This face was exactly the same as the ancient temple he had killed. Ancient Temple, Frozen Demon Clan. When he opened up a cave on the Tumshan Mountain just after he successfully joined the Dao, Zhenling got him to practice his hands. He also knew a lot about the Frozen Demon race at the time. This kind of overlord group in the ancient time and space of Mo. I thought it was only in Morwa time and space, or Qi Temple still had some lingering remnants. I didn't expect to be able to encounter it on a wild continent in Guyu time and space. It must be. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and stared at that face. Wu Li was surprised. Do you know him? No, I know his clan. Jian Wushuang shook his head and then said, This is the Frozen Demon Clan, the Pinnacle Clan. They are extremely powerful. The most important thing is that they will not show people in their peak state, but suppress them. My own strength is in the weakest state. In the previous paragraph, Kam Wu Liebing doesn't care. He wouldn't meet people in his peak state, but when he heard the last, he was stunned and trembled. The weakest state, 1 million supernatural power? If it were the peak state, wouldn't it be going to heaven? The other Jian Wushuang doesn't know, but the original ancient temple can be increased from 100,000 to 180,000. That's not half. Gula. Dan Bao said his name and continued, I have passed the news of Gula to the Holy Land. Even if he is strong, the super fighters of the Holy Land will say that he is defeated. Wu Li almost laughed, thinking that although this child has a bright brain, he is still inexperienced in the world. It is not clear at all what 1 million supernatural powers represent. That is the admission ticket for the Seven Tribulations realm powerhouse. It is also a sign of a leap in combat power. Chapter 58-51. Dan Bao saw the disdain of the two of them and did not explain anything, but sent the news of this place back to the Holy Land. In the Holy Land of the Balunga tribe, there are 3 5 Tribulations realm powerhouses dispatched, and they are rushing towards this place. It only takes a quarter of an hour to arrive. At this time, Jian Wushuang and Wu Li were still bragging about the Frozen Demon Clan stupidly. It's not that I exaggerated. If this Gula turns into the peak state, the divine power is estimated to be more than 103. Can this increase by 300,000? You haven't met before, you don't know. Jian Wushuang continued to boast. I think back then, when I was in Outland, when I was fighting in Outland, I met a Frozen Demon Clan. Outland? Zhan. Wu Li knew that Jian Wushuang was a reincarnated person. This was the first time he heard Jian Wushuang talk about it, and his ears were also pricked up. At the same time, he questioned, "Brother Wushuang, I think you should be not very old. Why did you go to Outland to fight?" He collected all the information from Outland to Jian Wushuang at the time. He couldn't think of how Jian Wushuang would go to the Outland to fight, but he didn't know anything about the Outland. This is going to fight at that corner. Jian Wushuang looked at the other party and didn't believe him. He also got angry and said loudly, "Don't believe me. I was alone with tens of thousands of emperors. Although I was young, I was strong." For this, Wu Li is extremely trusting. Jian Wushuang's knowledge may be fake, but the strength, it can be expressed in one word. In that battle, I faced the frozen demon race and fought the opponent for a month before I decided the victory or defeat. My memory is still fresh. Jian Wushuang held his hands behind his back, constantly raised their own insights. In fact, this is really the case, although there is a little exaggeration. However, when he was really the emperor, he killed a frozen demon race powerhouse in the Tribulation Realm. Wu Li nodded and said, "Brother Wushuang, since you have experience, then I'm not afraid. When your majesty comes down, let's kill the frozen demon clan." The opponent has 2 dragons in his hand. This. Jian Wushuang paused and he just talked about it. That can really deal with Gula. Back then, the ancient temples were weak enough to be bullied. The current Gula is in the 7 Tribulations realm. Without changing the body, one hand can pack the 2 of them. Plus the Empress is not too much. If you transform, this time all the teams together will not be enough to give you a head. To deal with Gula, forget it. I think it's fine. 1 Dragon Ball is enough, and your majesty has just broken through, and may not be used to the divine power. Now you are shooting, don't pay attention to it. The 2 were chatting and Gula had already left. I didn't pay much attention to the outside world. When 3 strong men of the Palunga clan with gloomy faces were found standing at the entrance of the cave, the 2 swallowed at the same time. Dan Bao ran over at this time and spoke to the 3 of them in the language of the Palunga tribe. Jian Wushuang and Wu Li were already stunned, not daring to move. 3-5 Tribulations realm. The weakest divine power is 700,000. Still 3. The 2 of them have given up and fled. Wu Li, an old fried dough stick, has a fairly quick response. I flipped it through, took out a few slips, and walked up to the front with a cup of tea. "Little brother Dan Bao, I didn't say your grown-up came, and didn't say hello in advance. You see how shivering here, there is not even a place to sit. This sacred heritage of the people is unavoidably embarrassing." I didn't know what to say for a while, turned his head and winked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang also nodded and said, "It's really shivering, and it's a very special shiver." Among the 3 powerhouses of the Palunga tribe, the one in the middle, the most burly figure, stepped forward to Wu Li. Wu Li's thin body is like a little chicken. "Drink tea." Wu Li leaked a smile and handed the teacup up. Snapped. The burly wave wheel strengthener kicked Wu Li in the face and kicked it several feet directly. Wu Li's body hit the rock wall and fell off again. "This is a punishment for your disrespect of my Palunga tribe's holy artifact." After the opponent did it, Jian Wushuang originally wanted to use Wu Li to use the 3-shock universe, but found that the opponent had just started it and didn't use divine power. Wu Li was not injured either. It stabilized. Which burly strong man turned to Jian Wushuang, put one hand on his chest, bowed and said, "Izak of the Palunga tribe, thank you for saving Dan Bao." "You're welcome," Jian Wushuang said politely, slowly stepping forward and handing the Dragon Ball in his arms to the opponent. "At this time, you can't borrow any more. If you borrow yourself again, you will end up just like Wu Li." Wu Li got up from the ground with his face black. Dan Bao also ran over at this time, bowed to Jian Wushuang and thanked him, and then explained, "Benefactor, it's not my clan's powerhouse who is embarrassing you. Now the core tribe of my Palunga clan has been destroyed. 3 people, you are so familiar with Gura, please come with me to the Holy Land, tell my clan elders what you know, and I will lend you dragon at that time." "This is natural." Jian Wushuang nodded and smiled. Then transmitted the voice to Wu Li, "Follow it." Now there is no other choice but to check it out first. The Empress will be here in less than a day. Judging by Dan Bao's meaning, there shouldn't be any danger. And they have also heard that the powerhouses of the Belunga clan are not warlike. Just one thing, Jian Wushuang was very worried. He is now afraid that those human race teams will rob the Dragon Ball and create a bad image for the human race. Please. Zack waved his hand, and a flying carpet appeared, and Jian Wushuang and Wu Li jumped up together. Divine power skyrocketed above the magic carpet. Everyone instantly reached the outside air, and then went all the way to the north. This direction? Jian Wushuang pointed, and then reminded, Everyone, I am dissatisfied with what you said. This direction is not good. Gula just went in this direction, and the speed is not fast. They drive at this speed. I am afraid they will be able to catch up with Gula in a while. That would be dangerous. Although Dan Bao had been with them, he was not a fighting type of Pelunga, and he couldn't feel the strong aura of Gula. Don't worry, Benefactor, Zack is very strong. In the last clan competition, he ranked in the top 10. Even if you meet Gula, you are not afraid. Dan Bao is very confident in Zack. But Jian Wushuang didn't think so. The intelligent Belunga clan is an idiot in combat. Don't understand at all. Zack also looked over at this time and said, Benefactor, what is the power of the strong man who slaughtered my Belungia tribe? End of this chapter. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.